Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
Check. What up, world? It's the man with the plan, Bert McGurk, aka PR, the King of Hearts, and you are now tuned into Clocking Out, the podcast you listen to when you need to get motivated and inspired to doing bigger and better things. What is going on, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Clocking Out. I'm your host, PR, the King of Hearts. And today, our guest speaker is Saugy. Saugy, how are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I appreciate you taking the time, been a fan of what you're doing, and I'm excited to chop it up with you.
I really appreciate you taking the time, man. I honestly have a lot to ask you because you are like, I'm telling you, I'm always seeing you in the chats. I'm always seeing you in the community. You're a very, very big supporter of other creators. And you're a big fan, from what I see, of Vee Friends. You know, I see you got a big collection of Vee Friends also that I want to touch on. And basically, I just want to know who you are. What do you do? What makes you tick? Why is it that you're so into Vee Friends in the community? And you just come off as a really cool person from the way you interact with people in the chat, from the way I see you interact with other people in the community. And I was suggested to speak with you from quite a few people also as well, telling you I had to get you on here. And honestly, I just want people to get that experience that we get in the community, for the people who aren't introduced to Vee Friends, the people who don't know about that whole, you know, part of the world or the internet. And I feel like you're a great example of what people can expect when they're joining such a community, from, you know, just the way you are, the way you interact, the way you support people. And I just think that people need to see that those people exist, you know? So before we get into any of the other stuff of Vee Friends and collecting, and of course, I'm going to ask you about the Whiskey and Waffle show. I'm really into that. I've been hearing about it nonstop, but let the people know a little bit about yourself. Give them a little bit of background and, you know, give us a good idea of who Saugy really is.
Yeah, for sure. No, I appreciate everything leading up to that. It's I'm going to always say that I'm just a guy that got a little lucky, got a black cat, and kind of dove in head first afterwards. But going back to me, I'm 32. I live in Wisconsin, born and raised. Super tight knit with my family. Went to school at UW-Madison for a couple of years. Ended up dropping out, and I'm sure we'll touch on a little bit, after 2 years with some mental health and focusing on me and who I was trying to be as a person and just live life in general. And then with that, the biggest thing, man, was sports. Like, sports nut since I was born, really. My dad was always my coach, so I've played baseball, I've played basketball, football, soccer, a little bit of everything up until high school. Turned down a college opportunity because I just didn't quite love the game of baseball like I used to. Found volleyball, coached that for 15 years. Loved it, did a lot of traveling with it, coached at a super high level. One of the best program in the state of Wisconsin. So got to play and coach against a lot of kids that play D1, play professional, are a lot better than me when you look at that. Loved the game, but it turned into we're at a stage in life where a lot of entitlement, a lot of money, a lot of my kid's better than what you think it is. And it was a turnoff. And that's where I took a step back and kind of found Vee Friends to fill that time off that I finally had. But professionally, I'll quickly touch on that because most people don't know. Simply, I sell basketball hoops for a living. It's super simple. Up in Wisconsin, we only get great weather from April till September, October, maybe November if we're lucky. So those in-ground residential hoops that you see at everybody's house, I sell about 300 of those a year. My crew installs them. We paint court lines. We also get in with institutional work, so ceiling, wall-mounted hoops that you see at all the schools, athletic facilities, divider curtains, wall padding. I did work for Giannis, Drew Holiday, the deputy commissioner of the NBA, DeMar DeRozan. We just finished up a trip with Spalding. So we get to do a little bit of everything, but I'm living life selling basketball hoops for a living. So I can't complain too much. I stumbled upon it, but I can't complain.
Bro,
it's a lot of fun.
But see, it's things like that bug me out, bro. Like, it's like that. We were talking earlier, and I told you, like, I was like went to job interviews and everything like that, and then I hear people like you that come out and go, yeah, I sell basketball hoops, and in my head I'm like, like it's things like that that you don't think of though. Like you don't think of like out of all things, like I don't know, that threw me off. And then for you to say like you because of that, like you worked and were able to meet all these different people and all, like, and the thing is like, and then you say like I just stumbled on it. How do you just stumble upon that and then it just ends up working and then you went like how did you stumble upon it? Like what was it like that just
For sure.
you were doing volleyball. How do you go from volleyball? You get
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Like,
so I moved home from Madison, like I said, and I fell in love with the sport of volleyball, and it quite honestly changed. Like it saved my life at that point. I was in a dark place, and I found a community and something that I could do every single night, use and abuse my body on the court, have a lot of fun with it, and I just loved it. Like playing and then coaching took over because I could be that coach that I didn't have on the volleyball court. So I could then be that person that I didn't have outside of like my family and my father, who was my coach for most of my life. So then I started working retail because sporting goods store, it made sense, but they worked around my schedule. So I said, I'm coaching this weekend, this night I'm playing. I mean, I started off working 7 to 3 Monday through Friday. I had my nights to do whatever I wanted and weekends off. So it was a lot of fun to. That's why I got into retail. I worked my way up. I was a management, took keys. That was fine, but I don't know if you've ever worked retail. I'm sure people that'll listen back into this, you sell your soul to the devil. It
yes, you do.
sucks. Like it's fine if you want to go down that route, but like it got too stressful. They don't really care. Like you're
No.
capped out financially. And my problem was I was building myself so up into there that the district manager wanted me to be a store manager. And at that point, you just sell your soul even harder. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to have a life. I want to do something more than just be good at what I'm doing. Like, and it was fine, but that's how I found my company. It's called Precision Sports, and Precision Sports did installs for people that I would sell stuff to at the retail level. So you buy a treadmill and don't want to put it together, Precision Sports would put it together for you. Buy a basketball hoop, we'll pick it up, we'll install it, we'll take care of it because let's be honest, no one wants to dig a hole, pour concrete, set the anchor kit, and put a hoop up. They just want the hoop in the ground, right?
Yeah.
They want it moving. So I got connected with the owner there because he'd pick up stuff at the store all the time. I worked for Dunham Sports. I don't know in your area if you have Dunham or Dunham's or Academy.
Yeah.
Say,
Yeah, I think we have an academy.
yeah, so same premise, a little bit smaller, a lot cheaper. Store at Dunham's, but we chopped it up a little bit. And I was like, man, you left here for a reason, started your own business because he was at Dunham's and he was out of a pickup truck and he was installing treadmills. He was doing it himself after his shift and building up that network. And he grew up big enough where he handled all the Dunham stores in the area. So if you sold something, you called him. And then that's where Precision Sports was built and grown. And so I met him and I'm like, dude, I hate it just like you do. And like, I loved my managers that I had there. They took care of us. Julie and Colette, I doubt they'll ever see this, but like they're truly great people and kept me on the right track to keep on growing as a person and professionally. But I was like, I need to get out of here. So I ruffled some feathers and left for Precision. I started on a crew. The district manager actually canceled all work with Precision Sports from Dunham's because I left because he was upset that he lost a store manager. I'm like, well, should have took care of me, dude. Like that was kind of on you. I'm getting paid more to have a life and my weekends free and my nights off. Like, sorry, not sorry, kind of thing.
That's-
But I ran on crews. I dug holes. I poured concrete. I painted court lines. I put hoops up, moved gun safes. I did all the like the grind and the like put in the work. But like I don't want to do that either. So I weaseled my way into the office life. So like I'd work a full day. I'd stay in the office with the owner and the ops manager, and I'd just be present. Like I
Smart
was
man.
just there, and I
Smart
was
man.
clock out and just start learning, kind of soaking things in. And then before I knew it, like they were asking me my opinion, and then all of a sudden they're like, "What do you think? Um, what do you like? What are these hoops? Like, what do you think about the schedule? What's the routing? Like your thoughts?" And before I knew it, like I was working less in the field and more in the office. And then it was like that slow transition where my position didn't exist 6 years ago before I started. Like I made it, and then I've built myself to a point where the owner I could leave and he's fine, but like I've built it where I handle the majority of the day to day, all the scheduling, the routing, a lot of the interviewing, looking at the finances, the inventory. I've redone all of our spreadsheets to track inventory, created a quote generator calculator where like I could have you into my office tomorrow. You figure out the miles, drive time, how long it's going to take, and how many guys we're sending, and you can send a quote for me tomorrow. Where I made it that simple where anyone could fill it out, send a quote, and make it happen. So like I just made myself indispensable to the company where he's like, nope, you're here, you're growing. And like he jokes that he tells people I own the company, like I run it. I'm like, I don't, but like I kind of do in a way because I handle everything. He's in Nashville right now and we had some issues pop up and bad weather. And he's like, thanks for taking care of everything. I'm like, that's what you pay me for, right? I mean, you can always pay me a little bit more, but that's that's what you pay me for. So yeah, it went from volleyball coaching to wanting to spend more time with my buddies to retail to needing to run away from that to digging holes to selling hoops and closing jobs with school districts. So it took an unconventional path where I didn't have my degree until last May. I went back and got my associates in sports management for me. It's not helping me at work per se for like financials or getting a job, but it was more of a pride thing at that point. Like my little sister's in the chat, and my
Yeah,
family's all
I
teacher.
saw her. Yeah,
Yeah, they're all teachers, and that's the one thing my grandpa said is don't be a teacher because he was. My dad teaches. My mom was in the education. My brother and my sister, all teachers, and I was the only one that didn't go get their master's, didn't go get their degree. So I took it. I took it hard for a while. My grandpa was always tough on me, like, "Hey, grandkid, you're the only one that doesn't have a degree. What are you going to do with your life?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm going to make more money than them without a degree," and be like, "Take that, grandpa." But then I got to the point where I'm like, I want to do it for me. And unfortunately, he passed away before like I could go and get it. But it was still a special moment, like seeing because I have the same name as my father and grandfather, like seeing our name on my diploma. It was kind of like, yep, I did it. Now you can get off my back because I am making good money, and I finally have a piece of paper that tells people I'm kind of smart sometimes. But
no, I like that, man. I
yeah,
do like that you took that route for yourself.
yeah,
It's me, and I honestly like I tried the whole college thing and going to school, man, and I went to community college, and I really wanted to go to I don't know if I don't know, I don't know how schools work anywhere else. I was trying to go to this school called Hofstra University.
oh yeah,
Yeah, and it's just like for music and stuff. And I was an independent music artist for a lot of years, and I wasn't successful in the sense of like I was known worldwide, but locally I had a little buzz enough to go and do shows and get paid and like to sell CDs out the trunk of my car or the back of my backpack on a bike.
yeah,
You know
for
what I mean?
sure.
Like I was able to hustle in that way. And I had a decent enough following. And the reason it worked was just because I was young and I was doing freestyle battles with dudes twice my age, and they were on my side, or I would win, or they would cheer me on, or so because of that, like I wanted to do music. And then when I tried going to school for it, they were like, listen, you're too stupid. You can't come here.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, because literally I'm like, I'm dyslexic, I'm illiterate, I can't like so they're like, bro, how you gonna do music? You can't. So I had to go to community college. But literally after a month or two there, I was able, I like was working my ass off because I thought like, okay, if I just really worked hard here, I'll be able to like I didn't understand how college worked. I didn't know anything about credits or nothing. So I'm thinking like if I just did everything on time or better or faster than anyone else, like I can get something. Like, and then I ended up being able to transfer over to Hofstra because I got the credits or they showed like all this stuff happened and I was able to get a fucking letter of recommendation from somebody. And so all these things helped. And I got over there and it literally felt no different than a community college. I felt like I was just back in high school, and it got me to the
Yeah,
point where I was really discouraged. And I'm like, why am I here? Like, what is this gonna? And at first, I was really excited because it's something I wanted to do for me. Everyone's like, oh, you'll never get there. You can't do it. You can't read. You can't. And it's even now, and it's like I have trouble spelling things or reading stuff, and I hesitate on it. But I look at it like, yo, I went from being a person that couldn't read, couldn't spell, but I was making music in a way that no one else could. I was putting words together like no one else could, and I was able to go to a college that I know a lot of people I know couldn't go to. And it wasn't that I'm like, oh, I'm better than them. I just looked at it like, yo, I'm not this stupid person people think I am. But then it also got to after I got over that, it got to the point like, what am I doing here? What am I gonna
it's
do with this
100%.
piece of paper?
That's where I was at with that. Like, growing up, the expectation was like my little brother's valedictorian. My little sister, she did well. I was top, I think, 12 in my class. So like our expectation was get straight A's, play sports. You don't have to get a job. So I was that guy, I was that little shit basically, where I did the bare minimum to keep my straight A's.
Yeah,
So like I would write a paper in the morning, figure out what my teachers want in it to get an A. I do it that morning, turn it in, get an A,
yeah.
done.
See,
Didn't study, didn't do anything. I 4.3, top in my class, played 3 sports, got into every college that I applied to, Madison, Minnesota, Marquette, University of Arkansas. Like, I put my name I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just like, "This is what you're supposed to do." Like, you're supposed to go to school.
yo,
Um, but I didn't realize how, like, personally I was unhappy with, like, my life, and that was the part that I always look back at is I don't know why. I don't think a lot of us know why, like, the past turmoils. Like, I had my little sister's here, obviously. Great family bonds. My parents did so much for us to make sure we didn't go through the struggles they did, but yet something innate in me was just, like, not satisfied or happy or content with who I was and what I am, and it uh, fortunately but unfortunately, I got to such a dark place where I was like, "College isn't for me right now." Like, I went to the University of Wisconsin-Madison, where a ton of my friends never dreamt of getting into. Like, that's their dream school, and they couldn't get in because of their grades or whatever. I got there easy. I get there, and I'm just like unfulfilled. Like, this
yo,
is supposed to be special. I met some amazing people there, but like it wasn't for me in that situation. But I think that's the first time I ever failed in life, I think, was I test really well. So I tested into third year calculus without taking calculus in high school. And my professor was from Spain. And like I can understand Spanish, but I don't speak it really well. So like I was taking third year calculus basically in Spanish and I had no clue.
bro, you're a
I
fucking
was
genius. What the fuck? You
no
just don't
no
know it. You got like this genius shit
no
in your head. Like,
no. And so like I was in there just like dumbfounded and lost. And I'm like, that's the first time that I ever like truly failed something. And like that's when it hit me, like that's when failure like I was always afraid to fail and to be wrong and just like that disappointment, you know, that word that mom and dad always drop, I'm
no,
disappointed in you.
no,
Like I always had that fear, not because I was like scared of my parents or, or like this is what they're gonna do to me. It's just I think that's how I'm wired.
you
And
don't want to let them.
failing, yeah, seeing that failure for the first time like made me realize like I got some stuff to figure out and I can't do it here because I can go to football games and hockey and drink and hang out with my buddies and just like it's an escape on campus where there was a term that I wasn't in class. Like I wasn't taking classes. None of my roommates knew. Like I made up my own schedule, so I'd leave the same times a day to go hang out with other people or like walk the park. Like people thought I was in class. They had no clue that I dropped out. Like that's how I like sold it because I was so unhappy that I didn't want to like I was disappointing them on top of it. And so yeah, school wasn't for me, just like you said, like you found your own path and it's not for everybody.
Yeah,
And that's what like I think my family is they're great. They love teaching. I love coaching, but like I like giving them back after 2 hours. They deal with kids for 8. I think they're crazy for it. It's it's not for me. But like our paths are very different, which is fine. And that's what I've learned. It's okay to not take that path like everybody else. Like I'm doing really well and my path looks weird as hell. I worked at a retail, I dug holes, I sell hoops, and now I'm here. Like, and what's wrong with that?
exactly.
Nothing.
Oh, nothing,
But
nothing. And
like, I still struggle at times, but like being able to chop it up with other people that did something similar but in their own way, it's like, okay, like I'm good. Like, who cares what I did? I didn't finish top of my class. Like, cool.
exactly. I feel
I,
like that's a thing that a lot of people get into. Like it took me a while to really get it, and like, of course, we're in the Vee Friends community, so a lot of stuff, Gary says also, and I think that the reason Gary, for those who don't know, we're talking about Gary Vaynerchuk if you're listening or watching and you're not familiar with the Vee Friends community. But Gary Vaynerchuk is always like rah rah and like go do this and fuck everybody. You got it. Don't pay attention to like, you know what I'm saying? So it took me a while because when I first saw Gary or his content came across my stuff, I fucking hated him. Like I looked at it like, of course, this dude's rich telling you, get off of bed, go away. So I'm like, bro, you don't know that. And then it's like the more and more I got to like really learn about his background and really see what he was about, I'm like, all right, there might be something to this. And then when I got into the community and I was able to go and meet him in person, even if it was just for a few seconds, you were able to just tell someone who's full of shit or someone who's not real about what they're saying wouldn't be able to make what he's making or attract the people that he attracts, you know? So I started listening more, and the more I listened, it just got to the point where he said a couple things that it really resonated with me. And it's like what you're talking about. I really thought that like everything was like law or engraved in stone, that as soon as you got out of school, you had to do this. By this age, you got to
100%.
do this. And you have to, and every time I got to those points that I thought, all right, I'm supposed to do this now, I wasn't anywhere near it. I'm like, fuck, I'm failing, or I'm messing up, or I
100.
did something wrong, or I'm not going to be able to get back from this, or I'm behind, or and the more and more went on, it started getting to the point where it was like, it went from me being scared and nervous and overthinking to the point that I just didn't give a shit. And I was like, fuck it. I don't care. So what if this person bought a
100.
house or this person has, and I was just like, I'm okay. I'm getting by. And but then it gets
That's
to
a dangerous place to be as well.
exactly.
Because
And
that's what happens.
exactly. Then you get to that point, and then there's that next point that you get to is like, all right, I don't like this shit no more. What am I doing? What's going on? Because then you get to the point where every day it's like, all right, fuck it. I'm just going with the flow. And then you start noticing that the flow goes from this to just, and then you're there and you notice you're doing the same shit that you were doing not only just yesterday or last week, but the same shit you were doing 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And then you
That's
start,
what
Mhm.
yes, I found it in retail. Like that's like I loved what I was doing, but like I was going out to play volleyball with my buddies 5 nights a week, staying out at a place called Center Court, hanging out till bar close, and then just rinse and repeat. And like go back and like I love the memories. I've like some great friends from that, and we're still super tight. And like I spent time with them. One of them was a roommate, and like got to go to their wedding. But like it was the same thing day in and day out. And then once you start looking at that, you're like, damn, those are some great nights, but, like, I felt like I had that Thursday every single Thursday for the last 6
Exactly.
months,
Yep.
and, like, I think that's when I was like, "I need to do more." Also, like, seeing my younger siblings, like, succeed in school, uh, it it wasn't upsetting, but it was like, "Damn, like, they're doing something, they have a purpose, they're growing, they wanna be in education to give back to, like, the next generation," and I'm sitting here playing volleyball every night, drinking, and working retail. Like, there's gotta what's my more?
Mhm.
And that's when I dove more into coaching and, like, I stopped playing as much and started coaching more, ran my own program for a couple of years, and, like, that's when my why kind of I was still finding it at that point, but it was kind of a wake-up call, like you said. It's you get in a dangerous spot when you just sit there and
Yeah.
you get complacent.
Yep.
Like, complacency is dangerous
It
because
is.
who's there to get you out of it? Like, it's just yourself, and
Yep.
if you get stuck for too long, 30 years go by and you're like, "What just happened?"
Exactly.
So that's why I was thankful, like, my younger siblings had it together quicker than I did because it was, "Alright, I need to do something bigger and better with my life." And it turned, and, again, like, when I said I just sell hoops for a living, you're like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
But I found a why, and it gives me an opportunity to like, the biggest reason is, like, when I install hoops and kids go out and they play on it immediately, like, that smile and that laugh, you're like, "That's the why." Like,
Yeah.
it makes all the stressors worth it, and you kinda go through, but yeah, that complacency, man, it's dangerous, and I lived it and still working through it. There's stuff that we can all improve on with that, but,
Yeah, no,
um
I'm the same way. I'm in that boat also, and it's like you said, you get to the point where every day you're like it's like you said every Thursday, and this is the same like everything, and that's what happened to me. And then the more I started looking at it, I started just reevaluating myself and my situation and my environment, and I kept looking at it like, all right, why is it that I'm not doing this? And at first I was blaming myself. And then I started noticing that the reason I was really more complacent with everything and I was comfortable in that little bubble was because I was surrounded by people who were just doing the same, saying it was okay.
100%.
You know what I mean? And every time someone came along, like, listen, you should do this. And now, nah, and I brushed it off. And it's like you said, when you get too complacent for too long, you get to the point like, okay, what am I doing? And then when you don't have a person there, like asking you, like, yo, what the fuck are you doing? What's going on? What's next? Or you take it like it's someone judging you or someone trying to like push, but you don't know that it's really someone just trying to give you that kick in the ass that you need. And we all, it's like,
I got, my mom was like that, and she was always pushing. Me and my buddies were super tight, and we all did it. We all played volleyball every night. Like we lived the same life. I had a couple that worked at the retail store with me. So like we were on the same schedule, we're doing it, and then mom was always just like, "What's more?" And it, like with parents, right? You always take it as nagging, like, "Mom, leave me alone. Like I'm
yeah,
fine. Like stop it. I'm an adult now." I'm like, "But you're living under my roof. Like you gotta gotta go do something more,"
yeah, exactly.
which is fair. But like it took like my old roommate and all of a sudden another buddy, like all of a sudden they both went back to school and they're both like growing their education. They were both finding like their next relationship and their future wives. And I'm sitting there like, wait a minute, these guys are all leaving and I'm still here. Like I got to do something about it. And so like that nagging that you were like, "Mom, leave me alone." It was like, oh, you were just trying to get me like my ass in gear and like get there quicker. And I was too stubborn to do anything because that's just the nature of who I like. That's how I am. I'm stubborn as hell. I admit it. You can talk to my techs at work, my project manager, my little sister in the chat. Like I stand my ground 100%. But it took other people leaving our comfort zone to open my eyes. But like I think the other biggest thing is like with my little siblings, growing and moving on. It was also losing my brother was kind of a reality check as well, because like that opened the door of like, all right, I just lost someone that important to me. I had all these people show up to his funeral. What am I going to do next? Like I didn't realize I had that supporting cast. So like it took something terrible for me to be like, okay, I'm gonna go do something. I'm gonna be bigger than because when I go, I want to fill out this church. I want to like leave that impact on people. And I didn't realize I had that supporting cast around me because we were all buddies. We were all just friends. We were all doing the same thing. But at the end of the day, people want more. You just have to be open to hearing it.
Exactly.
Which I refused for a long, long time.
I hear you,
But
man. I think a lot of us go through that thing, whether it's fear or whether it's hard headedness or whatever it is, man. It's just the comfortability. It's the safe space. It's not wanting to go through that struggle of figuring something new out or pushing
yeah,
through something, and it's like you said, it takes something really horrible or to be put in a really bad position to really push you to be like, all right, there's no more waiting. There's no more sitting around. Like you got to either jump or you're going to stay here and die in this burning building. You know what I mean? And it sucks, especially when it's something like that and it's a death in the family and it's someone that's close, because you look at it like it's not easy to just be like, or admit to yourself, whether you're saying it to
100%.
someone else or just in alone. Like it's not easy to be like, you know what, you fucked up or you're wrong, or you don't want to hear that from anyone else. But I think it's a million times worse or harder to hear it from yourself when you know that you've had people, because when you sit there and you admit it to yourself or you finally accept it, there's that like flashback reel that comes of all the
Yes.
people that stepped in your life trying to tell you like, yo, let's do something. And then you start regretting how you responded to them or you reacted or how you brushed them off or how you took it in a bad way. And that's the same thing that happened with me when I first talked to Ben. Like I mentioned to you before, I was doing podcasting nonstop, and then I had a bad experience with someone and it got me thinking like I just was somewhere I wasn't supposed to be. Like I shouldn't have never did this. I shouldn't have, and it messed me up. And then I for a while was trying to just give myself the excuse like, nah, you didn't do this or this wasn't wrong or this. And it took me talking to Ben, who I really didn't know too well at the time, but he was willing to talk to me. He was like, yo, let's just get on a phone call. In my mind, I didn't understand that. I couldn't comprehend or wrap my head around the fact that a random
Yeah.
person who I never met was like, yo, I want to talk to you. And I'm like, what the fuck do you want to talk
You're
about?
like,
Like,
me? Like,
exactly. So I'm like, and then
yeah,
when I was like, you know what? Like he kept like, yo, let's get on a call. Let's gonna, and I kept pushing it off because like I was nervous. I'm like, yo, the way I looked at it was like, there's so many people in the space that have so many things going on, and I just kept comparing it to myself. I'm like, what the fuck are we going to talk about in the conversation? I have nothing of value to give you. Like, I'm a secluse. I don't have a business. I don't have money. I don't really talk to no one. I don't have a big group of friends. Like, I have nothing to offer nobody. And I got in a call with him. And the more I spoke to him, the more I realized that when I spoke and I said something, I was looking for his approval. Like, yo, that's good. You should. And he didn't do that. He didn't sugarcoat anything. He just told me, bro, that's stupid. That's done. And here I am getting pissed off because I'm like, bro, you don't even fucking know me. And
yeah,
the first conversation we had, we spoke for almost like 2-3 hours or something, bro. And we just literally just chopped it up. He told me about him. I told him about me. And then the rest of the conversation was me just listening to him as he told me, like, bro, you did this wrong. You shouldn't have did this. You should have did this way. You should have took your time. And he's like, yo, you're still early. Just do 100 more episodes. And in my head, I'm like, motherfucker, I already did 100 episodes. What the fuck I look like? And I took it in such a bad way, bro, that I looked at it as if like this dude who doesn't know me was just trying to tear me down. And it took me like about a week that after I kept looking at his stuff and I wanted to look for something to be like, I knew it. I knew you're a messed up person. And the more and more I kept looking at his stuff, I'm like, yo, I'm wrong. Like he's not trying to, he's literally just trying to help me. Like he just wants me to win. Like he didn't do yo, and I felt so bad for the way that I took it. Like I never said nothing. I didn't, but like I disappeared for a little bit for like a week or two. And then it got to the point that I was like, yo, you know what? This is fucking stupid. This isn't like an after school special. We're not in high school no more, man. And so I was like, you know what? Let me just break this. And I wanted to tell him in a DM, but instead I was like, you know what? Let me just really get out of my comfort zone. And I made a post and I made it public and I said it flat out and I tagged him in and everything. I was like, yo, if it wasn't for the conversation we had, you know, and I took it really personal and I flat out said, I was like, yo, I took it like you were bashing me and you were telling me like my idea is stupid and it's not going to work. And
I remember seeing it.
yeah, and I was like, yo, that really wasn't the case, man. And I just started to like really look at it like, yo, the same thing I was doing with people I know personally that would come up to me and try to talk to me to give me advice. I was shitting on them, and now I'm doing it with someone who literally is taking the time out to try and help me and speak some life into me and give me that kick that I need. I was like, yo, I can't do that. I can't keep pushing people away who are actually trying to help me. So if it wasn't for
I
him,
feel that.
you know what I mean? It's like that. We need those people, and sometimes it's not a family member or it's not a teacher. It's not someone we know. Sometimes it's a real random person who you don't know from a hole in the wall that's literally telling you some shit you need to hear. Whether you believe in God and you believe in signs and things happening for a reason or not, you have to understand, or I truly believe that there's no mistakes in the sense of where you are and what happens to you. Whether it's because you decided to do it yourself and you made that choice to be there and that's the consequence of your choices and your actions, or whether it's just something that just happens. Like you said, like you don't know, you just ended up selling basketball hoops and but it worked. You know what I'm saying? If it was me, I would have been a person like, what the fuck? What do I look like? Something like in my head, I wouldn't, it's the way we are. I wouldn't adapt to that. I would have been so stuck on that's a big risk. I need to stay safe and keep the retail job. And that's the way I think. You get
And
what I'm
that's yeah, that's the bigger depth to like my job as well. So I lost my job during COVID. Uh, I got when I transitioned into the office, business was going through an audit. Uh, Easiest way to pay for an audit is get rid of the new guy in the office, get rid of his salary, covers covers the payment, which it sucked. I was new, I got it. I was pissed. I was pissed for a long time. But it was a silver lining because that was when COVID was about to hit. I turned out that's when the stimulus checks started coming through, and then unemployment. You didn't have to do anything, and you got paid. I was getting paid $900 a week to sit at home and figure my life out. Which was it was a dirty feeling because you're like, this is what people do to like manipulate the system.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like it gave me an opportunity. I went into COVID with debt, didn't know what I wanted to do. I came out of it with a job, salary, back at my old place, no debt, car was paid off. I was flipping because I was following Gary at that time, and like I was finding a purpose. So like something that was terrible and I was pissed off turned out to be a blessing in disguise because it made me wake up and go figure out how can I make it so I never have to feel like this again, where someone could just get rid of me? Like you're gone, and it was a Friday night. I worked the full week. Hey, we need to talk. We're gonna have to let you go because we got this. And I held a lot of resentment for a long time. But when they called me back, my mom, she'll admit it. She's like, "Don't go back. They screwed you over." And I'm like, "Mom, I get it, but I know why. I understand. I'm gonna go back here, and I'm gonna be the employee that they can't afford to lose again. So I'm gonna make it where they can't fire me. They can't be without me because I'm that important to the company." And once I changed that, I think that was another like flip of the switch. Like, all right, we go through ups and downs. We have good with the bad. But if you make yourself indispensable to family members or your friends or your profession, and they need and want you in their life because of what you're bringing to the table, like life is so much better. Like we all have that person that we can call because we know we can count on them. Like they're that indispensable friend where if it's going down at 2 in the morning, you call them, they're going to answer. They got your back. They're going to show up for you.
Yep.
So like that's what I wanted to do professionally, and now that's what I've put everyone else first for so long that I'm finally putting myself where I'm trying to regrow those friendships and find those people that I can call at 2 a.m. I know a lot of people, but I don't know who my closest like circle is
I hear that.
because it was all they're great people that I love them to death, they're friends, but like me and my old roommate, we always had like who's your best man when you get married? Like, who who is it? And, like, for a while, it was the same volleyball group of guys and my brothers, and then I lost my older brother, so he was taken out, which made it more more difficult to fill. But then you're like you look at it from 10 years ago to now, like, those names change, and
Yep.
that's okay because the people that you need in your life at that point, they can change, but the guys 10 years ago are still they're great friends, but they're not the people that I need in my life today to take me to that next level.
I hear
And
you. I have
so
that
like that's
conversation.
what I'm transitioning.
Yeah, no, I'm right now. I'm in that stage. I think I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing, which is why I'm doing all this and I'm talking to other people. I feel like I haven't given myself the opportunity to go out and really experience things firsthand and learn from my
Yeah,
mistakes and stuff. Like I've just stuck to what I know and what I like. And I feel like a big thing that I messed up on is not getting out of my comfort zone more sooner and more
100%.
frequently, because now
That's
I'm doing it now little by little, and I'm starting to notice and see like the things I really could have benefited from, the things that, it's just changing the way I think. I used to be like this street kid 24/7 out there with all the hoodlums and stuff doing like God knows what and ready to fight somebody as soon as they looked or giggled and walked by. Even if it had nothing to do with me, I was just
yeah,
known as that dude. So it's like being that I did that as a kid for so much, like I grew up now and it's now people look at me and I got that face that I look like I'm about to start some shit or something, but really it's just my face. I can't help it. But it's like as much as I'm trying to change that and be like the person that's like, hey, how you doing? And sometimes people don't want to give you that chance, or sometimes people like those things kind of your past kind of shines through everything because it's just so a part of you as much as you want to
yeah,
change it, the way you talk, the way you carry yourself, the way you act, and that affects things. Some people are okay with it and they stick around, some aren't. And then there's things that happen in life that change, just like you said, like you go from having those people as your best man and in the wedding to the fact that they're just guests that are watching the wedding. And I've had that conversation with my friends too sometimes. Like I went
yeah.
from being able to say I could have like a full thing of groomsmen or whatever it is, and now I feel like I would have to have like a secret wedding with like just my best man and whoever I'm marrying and her best friend and a lawyer or something, because I feel like I
No,
won't
for
be
sure.
able to fill up the seats. But I totally feel you when it comes to that, man. um
No, and that's what I mean, I went my old roommate was one of those. Like we talked and we were both in the wedding party for both of us. I wasn't in his. What and I'm just like and that was I was still invited. We're still good buddies. We don't see each other as much as like I want to, and that's partially my doing. Because that's what I'm really bad at is I'm that friend that I'm always there for everybody else, and I was doing that for so long that it was never in reverse. Like I was always the one reaching out. I was always saying, "Hey, let's go do this." And then when I took a step back, when you don't get those return messages with them trying to go first, like I just started deleting people and being like, "All right, I gave you a month where I wasn't asking to hang out first. You must not care. See you later." Or you're doing this you're going through, but I realized after is because like, they're figuring life out too. Like they're found their significant others, they're finding their future wives, their husbands, they're finding new jobs. So like we don't have as much time as we used to. And I took those moments that were I took them personally, which I shouldn't have. Like they have life. We just had to figure it out and do better together. But it's still a learning process of having that equal reciprocation of I'm here for you just as you are for me. But it doesn't take away from the friendship and the memories that you had. It's just you're not my best man in 2024 like you were in 2014.
Yo,
And that's the cool thing to look at. But also to your point, like being comfortable, uncomfortable, like being on stream, if you would have asked me like a year ago, I'd have been like, nah, dude, who the hell are you? Like
yes.
I don't like this. I'm more of an introvert. I don't put myself out in public very often. I don't like the spotlight. I don't take selfies. I don't take pictures. And now my face is here. It was on BFAM sessions.
You're all over, bro.
I'm on like all these
Whether
other
you like it or
streams.
not, yo, we got shirts of you and billboards.
Yeah. And it's just like it made me be like, all right, I know you don't like this, and people are like bullshit. They're like, you love it. I'm like, I don't. Like it's still very weird to me. Like the fact that like I love that we're chopping it up, but like people are watching me, and it's just like
I get you. I get you.
I gotta watch what I'm doing. But like again, I've had good conversations with like Ben and Sam and like the To the Moon and Josh and with like Jay, Tom, Chels, and Rob, and like they're like, shut the hell up and just do it. Like
Yeah.
live it. Like these people, like you don't know my life. Like the people in the chat don't know everything 30 years in my past. So you're coming into this Vee Friends community that they don't care the failures. They don't care necessarily everything that you did that's not up to par. Like they're here for you and they can see through the bullshit. They're gonna be there for you. And if you're a great person, you'll stick around and you'll be here. And if you're not, see you later. Like you're out. And it's no sweat off their back. Like they give you a chance, and if you survive because you're a genuine person, then you're here. And that's what I've learned with this community is like I shut the hell up and just do it. Like the reason I'm here, it's you asked, and I'm like, why does this guy want to talk to me? Like what do I have to say that we can put out there and hopefully someone learns something or hears that sticks with them? Like who am I to have that voice? But it's like, dude, shut the hell up. He asked you, say yes, make it happen, and just do it. Like enjoy it. And then you get my sister popping in, and then Savvy's everywhere. And then Brett and Brian. It's like people are showing up, and it starts from with what you're doing is like people are showing up for you, and it's a good feeling. It's still weird as hell.
Yeah,
but
no,
it's a good feeling.
I hear you, man. When I was doing this before, I was literally for like the first good couple, I don't know how many episodes, I was literally just coming on here and talking to myself. And at first it would bother me because I'm like, yo, no one's here. And then I spoke about this with Tom also. I would start looking at like, yo, no one's on here. And then I would start getting nervous. Like, why am I going to go on? But then it got to me also like, why am I stressing? No one's watching. Like if no one's watching, why the hell are you? So then it got to the point where I was like overthinking because no one was watching. Then it got to the point that I didn't care. I was like, yo, no one's watching. I can literally just do whatever I want. And then if anyone has anything to say, they're going to see it after the fact. And I'm not.
Yeah.
So I started getting into that mood. And I felt so free. But then the moment people just started popping up in my chat, I'm like, oh shit, what the fuck is going on? And then it totally flipped. And then I'm like, it's like you said, then you get to the point where you're like, all right, I gotta watch what I'm saying and what I'm doing, and and you start overthinking, but then the more and more it happens, like it went from these people being strangers to now these people show up, and then it's just crazy because you think you're just talking and you think like it's like you forget what you're saying, but then the next day or right after you have someone mention something that you said fucking an hour within the stream or something like that, and it's just crazy how you think no one cares, and then you have people that show that they care because they're just resonating with what you're saying. They can relate. They can. Yeah. It's like you said, in the Vee Friends community, like it's really hard to fake the funk because I strongly feel that everyone in the community in one way, shape, or another has gone through something that it just makes us like, I feel like it's an unspoken thing that we all know. We've all been through something in some way, shape, or form. And it's like whether, it's like the thing that draws us together. Like we really don't know what it is, but we know we went through something. We know we've been through something. We
yeah,
experienced it, and that's
for
what
sure.
draws us together.
And that's the best part is, like me, obviously my sister's here. Like we lost our older brother to suicide. Like we lived that, we experienced it, but we still lived it very differently. And we're siblings, like we're together, and that was both of our older brother. But we overcame something just like you've had your stuff and Savvy, and then Brett and Brofit's in here, where we've all gone through something. No one is ever gonna know how you felt to go through that, and that's perfectly okay. They can still give you that support. They can still lean on you with that and provide it. And what I hated when I lost my brother was people that said, "Man, I can only imagine," or like, if I like, I don't want people to ever imagine losing their brother in that manner. Like, it was awful. Like, I still go through like during his birthday and like the anniversary of his passing, like it sucks. Like, I don't want anyone to ever feel that grief. And I know where they're coming from, like a place of support and being like, oh, like no, I don't want you to imagine that. I want you to know, like, I went through something. You're here with me going through it. So when I have the tears or the happy moments or the sad, like, all you need to know is, like, I got you. Like, say what you need to say. But what I love with this community as well is a lot of people, they don't need to say anything. Just listen. And, like, that's what, like, chopping it up with Ben and then Dom, like GT with the Hype Foundation is I found myself talking a lot more than I thought I was going to. Like, and I'm not like I don't like to hear myself talk, but it's just like there's those type of people that they're like, okay, say your stuff, man. Like, let it out. And then all of a sudden you're solving world problems
Yeah,
just in your own head because you're like,
yeah,
holy, I just needed to say that out loud to somebody.
yo,
And then all of a sudden that was your cue to be like, shut up and do this, man.
bro.
Like, go out and have fun.
I'm telling you, I know exactly what you mean. Savvy's in here, bro. I've never like it was even. I've never. I don't even know how to explain it, bro. If anyone even watches that thing after the conversation with Savvy, I don't know what it was, bro. I broke down, like, just listening to her. I don't know what it was. I've never met her. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting her in person, but just hearing her and seeing her, I don't know what it was, but I got this thing again. Like I say, whenever you see someone in the Vee Friends community, I don't know what it is, but you get this thing, like, you just know. You look at them and you're like, all right, I get it. You know what I mean? And then when you hear them speak and then you hear them express themselves, I have this thing where I say it a lot. Real recognizes real. There's no faking the funk when it comes to you meeting someone who's been through it. You can't bullshit a bullshitter. You can't lie to someone who's been through something, and you can't look at them dead in the eye and be like, yeah, I'm okay. They're looking at you like, nah, I know. Other people will brush it off like, hey, he's fine. Like, but the other ones, they'll see it. They'll hear it. They'll feel it. There's no bullshit in it. And it's I never would have, like, she was just talking and everything she was saying was just like hitting me in the heart. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, it felt like Mike Tyson was just like in there just tearing
No,
my heart apart. And I'm
she
like,
dropped some videos and I'm just like, damn, Savvy. Like,
yeah,
that hit
bro,
me in the
like,
feelings. And
she
it's like, I hate
really,
you for that because I didn't want to be emotional today.
yeah.
But like,
But then again,
but
at the
you're
same
right.
time, you're like, yo, I needed that. Or you look
Yeah.
at it like, yo, it's she says something, and it's not just her, it's many people, but she was the first one that I've gotten to speak with that I was not able to control. Like, she would speak, bro, and like throughout the whole shit, like, I just kept breaking down for something. I kept trying to like keep my composure, but something about me is like, yo, like, you need to talk to her. And it was
That's
even
your point.
after the stream, we sat and we talked a little bit, and she prayed with me. Like, it was just something that afterwards, after that whole thing, for whatever reason, I felt like the lightest fucking person in the world. I was so happy. I was with my kids playing, and for whatever reason, it wasn't until like I laid down in bed and I'm like, yo, I haven't felt like this in a while. And I was like, literally, I didn't say anything. I just listened to her. And afterwards, and for whatever reason, just knowing that there's another person that's like that, that actually is a genuinely good soul and a good-hearted person, like, it made me be like, yo, like, the world isn't that bad. You know what I mean? And there's people out there that really care and that really give a shit. And it just got me to be like, it was one of those times, like, for a while, I was like, you know, what am I doing? And then after speaking to her, I was like, yo, it's not even really about me figuring out what I'm going to do with all this. because like that's what I crack my head like open about 24/7. I'm like, what is this gonna lead to? How's it? And it's been evolving into something that I don't like. All these conversations, I always think they're gonna go one way and they go somewhere else. And it got to the point that I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna try to control it or say it needs to be this way or that way. I'm just gonna go with it because it's turning into something. I don't know whether it's what I want, but I think it's something that not only I need, but everybody else needs. And so
Sure.
I've been going with it. Yeah. And I'm like, this whole thing, like I used to talk to people for a few minutes, and then it just started going from like a minute, like a half an hour to an hour to 2 hours to 3 hours. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on, but I love it, because I went from being worried about how many people are on viewing and where I'm streaming it and all, to the point that I didn't even care. I was like, I just want to have a good conversation with people. So it's like you're saying, man, the community really gets you to really wrap your head around the fact that you're not alone, and that there's people out there that whether you speak it or you express it, it doesn't matter. There's people out there that really can relate, that understand, and you really don't have to say much. You know what I'm saying? It makes you feel like you're family with them, because just like your mom or your brother or anybody would come and see you and be like, yo, I know you're going through something because I know you that well. You kind of get the same feeling from these people in the community. So I completely understand.
100%. That was and like I go through, like, grief is weird, right? It's never the same, it's ever changing, and it hits you whenever it wants to hit you. And I remember distinctively, like, I got big into the streams pretty quickly, and then like my name started going through, and like people were used to seeing me in chat. I took a week off. I wasn't in Fanatics, I wasn't in anything, and people were just like, you good? Like, where the hell have you been? Like, get your ass in stream, like, shut the hell up, get out of bed, hop in here, get on camera, like, what you need to be here. And like for a while, I was just like, leave me alone, man. Like, I just like I'm trying to take some time off, do me, and then I realized like these people and most of them who reached out never met me at that point. Like I got super lucky and met Tom, Jay, and Chels really quickly when we went to CGC. Uh, when I got to do the Black Cat poll and then did the grading in person, and then the Texas meetup, we got to meet a lot of people. But it's just like, who are you to like check in on me because I'm not on a stream buying something? But what I didn't realize is like they were right. Like something was off, so I secluded myself because that's my safety. Is
Yep.
I shut down, and that way I can't hurt people, I can't bother them. I'm in my own shell. Like I can do no one else wrong. It's just my problem. But like that's another dangerous place, which I'm sure, like based off what you said, you've been there before as well.
Yep.
And it takes people to be like slide in your DMs and call you and be like, dude, get your ass in Fanatics because they're gonna do something. And even just you being present like makes it all better and like worth it. And you're just like, oh, this is where I'm supposed to be. So like I'll listen to streams and I'm not buying anything, but I'm just there.
No,
Like I'm not in chat, but like I'm there existing with these people. And then you're like, all right, like I was doing chores yesterday listening to Josh. Like I was doing dishes and I was going through my inventory, but I was present with people that care about me, and me just being in there like and this is what like Josh is amazing, and then like to the moon, like you log in like on Whatnot, it says you log in, and every single time Saugy's in the chat,
yeah,
PR is here,
yep,
Savvy's there, Nacho's in, and it's just like, man, these people are looking out, and all you did was log into a group chat. They want your money. Not like
yeah,
they don't really just want your money, but like they're there to make some sales, but they're like, no, they want, and like they want you to chop it up. And like that's what's special about like this group is it's more than cardboard, it's more than NFTs, it's people. We could liquidate tomorrow, but these relationships, I was talking to Josh earlier, like I don't have kids yet, and like Josh is a father, like, and we've gotten tighter, and I'm happy that I met him, but I want to look when I start having my own children being like, that's the V fam, like Uncle Josh, and like I want to like be a better father, learning from the Turner and Blaze and all the guys that are with like the V dads and Brian. Like you guys are setting these expectations, like the role models of to what I want to be as a father and a person. So when I have kids, they can look up and be like, yeah, that's the Brave Bryson guy. Like that's Uncle Josh. And like, that's
yep,
all like that's something that I want to work towards in these relationships are making you, and being present is half the battle. Like just
exactly.
being there. And
Yep,
that's what I struggled with a long, long time. I'm very good at secluding and hiding and
same.
doing my own thing. And it's for too long, it was terrifying without knowing it was terrifying because you don't realize how deep you can get in there before you're like, oh shit, this is almost too late. I've flirted that line, and it's a scary place, and it's someplace I'd never like to go again. And I don't think this community would let me go to that
No,
place. So
no, that's what I'm saying, and that's the best thing, man. I feel like we try to look for those people to stop us from either doing dumb things that just kill who we are slowly, man, and we don't notice it. And to us, it's like, it's fine, whatever. We're drifting into like nothingness, and no one's gonna care, so fuck it. But then you start seeing these people like, reach their hand out, like, yo, where you going? Come on, come back. Like, so I hear you on that, man. It's even like right now, everyone that you mentioned, man, we have here. Ann is in here. We have Brett's in here. Nacho, Savvy, your sister Caitlin, right? She's here.
yeah, and they just don't go away. They're always there. You just
Exactly,
can't
man.
get rid of them.
You can't get rid of them. We got Brofit AZ. I don't know Brofit's real name. I just know you by your profile. So I'm sorry if I'm not saying your name. Just put it in the chat. I'll give you a shout out. But yeah, man, we got everybody here, and there's so many people that show up and that I don't expect. There's times that I would be streaming late and Ben would just show up out of nowhere and he'd be like, yo, what's going on? And I'm like, bro, it's 1 a.m. Like, what are you? He's
No,
like,
he does that all. He does it all the time. He even does it like on To the Moon and with Josh. Like he's out the
yeah.
whole entire night. All of a sudden, some random box opens up, and then just Ben is just like, nice. And I'm just like, where have you been? And he's just there, and he's like at the tattoo shop, like chilling with the coffee, because that dude also drinks coffee like 24/7. Like when
Hey,
we were down there,
same.
he was sipping on like his coffee, and it was just like, what are you doing? Like it's 10, 11 o'clock. Sam's trying to kick us out and like go back to our Airbnb so he can go to bed. You're sipping on coffee, and he does it stream at 2 a.m, just sitting outside his fence. It's
No,
like, dude, what? Oh,
I
it's
do.
good
I
to
do.
see you, but like, go
Yeah.
to bed. But no, he's just always there. But you gotta
So
love it though.
what I wanted to get into, being that we started touching on a couple things, before I get into the whole Vee Friends thing and everything, I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you, tell us about a little bit about your journey in the world of crypto, NFTs, blockchain technology. What initially drew you into the space?
I know nothing about it. I'm gonna be honest. I'm a crypto noob. I don't know anything about any. I joke. My buddy Ed, he's in Texas now, and he's one of those guys that, like, when my brother passed, he showed up from Texas and was like, he was there. Like, he's that type of friend. Um, he won Bitcoin before Bitcoin was like huge. He's like, you guys should know what this is, and we were like, dude, you're an idiot. Like, what are you talking about? Like this, I don't. No, that's not gonna happen. He was right, unfortunately for me, fortunately for himself. Um, but like I don't know anything about it. Like the only reason I have a MetaMask is because of VeeFriends. The only reason I got crypto was because of VeeFriends. Like I looked at it and like I was like I could do this, but I didn't care to dive into it because I didn't know what it was. I was scared of it. It was the biggest thing is this could burn you really, really quickly
Yep.
if you don't put the time and effort to kind of understand it. So like the first crypto I bought, I think was when I bought the Capable Caterpillar VF2 and then gave it to Chels. Like that was the first time that that I bought any kind of crypto, like to buy something.
Yeah.
And like that process was like terrifying because you're like, am I doing this right? Like, where does it go? Like, I
Yep.
can't hold it. Like, what's happening? And like, it worked. Like, it's in her wallet now. So like, I did it right apparently. But other than that, dude, it's all over my head. The only NFT stuff I know is VeeFriends, and I'm starting to learn and like kind of dabble. Like Polish is really big in like pudgy penguins and like growing that side. So like, it piques my interest because other people are interested. But like nothing, man. Like I'm clueless. You could talk to me and it'll go in one ear, out the other, and be like, "Yep, PR, like you're right. I got you.
No,
Sure."
I was the same way, man. I knew about crypto before I even knew what the hell NFTs were or how that
Yeah.
worked. Like I understood Bitcoin and Ethereum and all that stuff. And I got introduced to it back in like 2013 because an artist that I was a fan of, Ryan Leslie, brought it up. And the only reason it sparked my interest was just because he got at a point where he was having a lawsuit and they froze all of his assets. And he's a popular music artist. And something happened where someone stole his laptop and it had all his music in it. And he offered a reward of like $1 million or some crazy amount for the laptop back. So the person who stole the laptop gave it back, but wiped the whole entire laptop. So he ended up suing the music artist because he's like, I want my $1 million for this laptop. And the guy's like, I wanted the stuff in the laptop, not the actual. He goes, well, you didn't
Yeah.
specify that. So it came out that he won the lawsuit and he had to give him $1 million. Yeah. So being that he didn't want to give it to him, they froze all his assets. So then his way around it to make money and everything, he used Bitcoin. And what he was doing, even though he was a big artist, he was offering to have like 5 to 10 minute conversations with people on the phone for $10 worth of Bitcoin. Now, mind you, this was back in 2013. So he did that from 2013 to 2015. And then Bitcoin started skyrocketing. Then he paid whatever he owed that guy like this off of what he made from Bitcoin. And then he made like triple or double or whatever it was of the profit. And just like, so when I saw that and I understood it, and I looked at it like, yo, the government seized all his stuff and they couldn't touch the crypto. That's the first thing that sparked my attention. Then when the NFT stuff happened, I was in the Vee Friends community and I still didn't know what was going on. And then randomly Gary Vee started following me. He's like, yeah, you won. What's your wallet address? And I was so fucking confused, bro. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I had everyone like, yo, you won. You won. I'm like, I won what? What the hell are y'all talking about? You won the NFT. I'm like, what the fuck is an NFT? Like, they're like, you got to get your wallet. So like an idiot, I went and I made a regular freaking Coinbase wallet. And I gave him my Coinbase address. He's like, all right, I sent it. I'm confused. I'm thinking I'm getting money or some shit. I had no idea. And I look and I don't get nothing. And I go back in a DM. I'm like, yo, Gary, I didn't get it. He's like, yeah, I sent it to you. Like, this is it. And I'm like, bro, I gave you my coin. It was a whole process. But Gary Vaynerchuk himself was in the DM and he walked me through how to set up a MetaMask and how to do, like, sending me videos back and forth to each other. Like, yo, you do this and you add this. And after I did it, I'm like, yo, I'm sorry I messed it up. He's like, nah, it's all good. And he sent me another one. I'm like, oh shit. Yeah. And that's after I got that, that's how I got into it. And I started understanding. And I feel like the reason I tell that to people is I feel like no one understands it until you actually have like skin in the game and your firsthand experience with it. Then you're like, oh, okay, I kind of get what's going on here.
That forced my hand for sure. Cause like I got my job back right before book games. So like I got out right before the minting and like when Vee Friends, like the OG started and that whole was going. So like I'm not big into like art. So like the NFT side of it, I'm just like, cool, I can own a fancy piece of art digitally. What does that mean to me? Like nothing. Crypto, why the hell does it worth $60,000 today, but 2 years ago it was only 40? Like why? And like I need to know why for a lot of things for it to make sense for me. And I'm very visual, so that's why I think like crypto and like the NFT stuff, like it doesn't 100% make sense. And so like I was avoidance of it for a long time until Gary kind of went through and he was like, hey, respond and I'm giving away some NFTs. So I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but I'm going to write something in here. And sure enough, he picked me. I got a VF2 quick whale. That was my first NFT ever. And it was just like, oh, okay. Like I have a MetaMask, so now what am I going to do with this? So right after that, the only two things I minted were for the Hype Foundation with GT. So like, and I did that not because I knew what I was doing, just because I love what he stands for. So like, I just did it because I love the Hype Foundation. I love GT, and I wish I had a guy like him when I was a teenager, because life would have been a lot different if I had a guy like Dom, like in my corner at 12, 11, 16 years old.
I agree.
But then I went even farther and I'm like, all right, I don't know what this stuff is even more. I'm like, I need to buy something. Like, how do I do that? Can't just like swipe a credit card and go through, and like with MoonPay you can. So that's what I did with my Caterpillar with Chelsea. But then gas fees and all that, and you're just like, what the hell? Like I thought I have to pay money to send this to Rob so then I can drive there on stream, and I'm like, what the hell is this nonsense? So then I gifted that to Chelsea, and I'm like, all right, now I'm like, I don't need any, like, eventually I'll get that VF1 when I learn what I'm doing. And then all of a sudden there was like a gift train, and then I got my legendary lemur gifted over to me. So I'm like, all right, I don't need to buy that anymore. So I still don't need to dive in.
Yep.
And then I got the VF1 from Gary, and I'm just like, okay, shit. Now I have what a lot of people are working for. What the hell is this? And I still don't know. But now I have like you said, I have skin in the game where I have something that I was going to build for. I was going to get the liquid funds before I did it. Now it's here. What am I going to do with this? So now it's my excuse to like shut up and just learn. So that's something that I'm trying to educate a little bit more on. It's still intimidating, but I have a reason to learn because I got stuff in my wallet. So like, might as well figure out what to do with it.
So
Kind
was
of like,
that whole situation and that process, was that your first time interacting or getting into the V friend space? Like you already knew Gary and
no,
everything, but was that your
yes,
first initial interaction with the V friends community?
no. So my first, like I said, I followed Gary during COVID. I did a lot of Flip Life stuff, stopped, and then it was October of last year. I think it was like October 5th. For some reason, I had inclination. Like I don't know if Fanatics was going on. I'm a big sports guy. So like Fanatics Live was going off. I downloaded the app, and for some reason, I went into VeeFriends. Like I didn't know what it was, but like I started following Gary a little bit more. So I was like, that looks familiar. I'm gonna click and figure out what this is. Um, bought. He was on stream with Rips, and I think Connor was there that night. And he was looking at VeeFriends boxes on eBay, and I was like, what the hell is this? Like I don't get it, but I like sports cars. Like tangibles, I get. I had Pokemon. Like me and my brother used to play Yu-Gi-Oh all the time. Like I know what cards are, so this is kind of cool. But like, what is it? What's the value? Because I at that point I'm like, can I buy this to sell it? Like, can I hit something? Like everyone wants to know like what are the good stuff that you can get. And then Gary went in there and he found a box for 250 on eBay, and he's like, ooh, I want this. And I'm like, all right, if Gary, the guy who made it, wants this at 250, must be a good price. So I went in there and I bought it before him live on stream. And like he was like, fuck you, you asshole, like what the hell? And I went into the chat then, I was like, yeah, I bought it first. And like that's the
You
first
trying
time
to,
that they all
you trying
that
to
they
buy
all
it for
said
you,
when
right?
they
Yeah,
yeah, that's the
I
first time
remember.
that they said all my name, and I'm like, wait a minute, like I'm onto something. If like Gary is saying my name on stream because I bought this like when he wanted it, there's something more here.
Yep.
So like that's when I got my first taste of VeeFriends, and then after that, there was the stream with the signed gibbets that I was on, and again, I like the collectibles, and I like the long term. The fact that I lost Gary a couple years ago and stopped following, and then a couple years later, I jump right back in, and he's growing something even bigger than what I remembered. Like
Yep.
I'm like this dude's not going to say no. He can stop everything that he does and just focus on VeeFriends. Like he's good. Like he can
Yep.
do that and he can keep on growing. So I'm like, this is going to be worth something someday. So bought the gibbet. It's $600 for. I hate Crocs. I'll never own a pair. I think they're dumb. Put it on record. You can clip it. But like I bought them. They're the first signed on Fanatics, so he signed it. Bought them for 600. He was like, "All right, let's go, Saugy. I'll buy it. What's $150 profit? I'll buy them for 750." And I just wrote, "No, it's mine." And that's when he gave me 11 slabs for free, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm onto something. Like this is fun. It's an arbitrage. Like that's Gary liking this. So then I bought a signed box. I'm not going to say how much I spent on that because my sister's watching. She'll tell my mom. But like I bought the box. It's signed by Gary, Rips, and Connor, dated on October 20th 23. It's the first signed box they ever had on the show, so it's still sealed, and I bought that for more money than I care to admit. But I'm just like, Gary looked at like the camera, like he was looking into your soul, because like he has that way of when he's addressing, even if he's not talking to you, like you feel like he's
Feel it,
talking to
yeah.
you,
Yep.
and he's like, you get this, don't you? You get collectibles, you get what this is going to be in 15 years. And I was just like, yes, sir. And I'm just like, all right, hook, line, and sinker, I'm in. Like, what's next? And like that's where I really got into VeeFriends, was on Fanatics, and it's like now I'm here like talking to you, and this is originally like why like we got connected was VeeFriends, but the
Yep.
first what 20-30 minutes was nothing about nothing about
Exactly.
VeeFriends. But
Exactly.
like that's where I got going, that's where I got started. And then yeah, it just, I can't say it went downhill because things went really positively for me, but like obviously my series one box, and then jumping on streams, and like the stupid luck that I get with buying certain things, but like it all I took a chance of buying into something that I knew nothing about, and here I am. Just pissed off Gary along the way, which is also fun because nothing like
Of
Gary's
course.
telling you
He-
the
he's,
fuck you, Gary.
he's not gonna forget you. I'll tell you that right now. I guarantee
Yeah,
you he's gonna remember.
yeah,
Um,
100%. I mean, you made it when he calls you an asshole. So I'm just like,
exactly.
yep, cross it off the list. Got it done. I'm
Speaking
moving.
about collecting Vee Friends compete and collect cards, could you
Yeah,
share insight in your collection? Like, I know, I'm pretty sure you collect a whole bunch of other things. You mentioned Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm a big
yeah,
Yu-Gi-Oh fan myself. I got like all the freaking God cards and everything. Like,
nice,
I'm
nice.
into all that. I like them. Like, I haven't gotten them graded, but Yu-Gi-Oh is a big thing for me because when I was young, my mom didn't know the difference between Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, Digimon, or none of that. And
Yeah,
Pokemon was
a
like a really,
word.
really big thing.
There are
And
words you can't pronounce.
exactly. So I would always bother her, like, I want
Yeah,
Pokemon, I want Pokemon. We didn't have money for it. And the reason I got really attached to Yu-Gi-Oh is because my mom would go to a flea market. She went to a flea market, she saw Yu-Gi-Oh, she thought it was Pokemon, and she bought it. And on the way home, she was so excited because she got it from cheap. It was before Yu-Gi-Oh, it was before the TV show and all that. So no one even know what the hell Yu-Gi-Oh was. But she
yeah,
swore that it was Pokemon. On the way home, she called me. I got you a surprise. I found these Pokemon cards, and I was so excited. And I remember she came and she gave me the pack, and it was Yu-Gi-Oh. And I was so disappointed. But when I looked at my mom, I saw how happy she was. So
yeah,
I was like, oh, they're so cool. And I opened it up. And the more I looked at them, I was like, yo, they're actually pretty dope. But I didn't know what the hell they were. It wasn't until like that very week I took them to school. And I remember I got in a fight because someone ripped one of my cards because they were like, this isn't Pokemon. Like, you're an idiot. And they were like making
yeah,
fun of me, picking on me. A week later, the Yu-Gi-Oh show drops. And then out of nowhere in school, I was like the popular guy because I
yeah. Look
showed it.
who's an idiot.
Yeah,
Yeah, look who's an
exactly.
idiot now.
Exactly. So ever since then, Yu-Gi-Oh has been like, I fell in love with the show and everything. But if it wasn't for my mom buying that, I would have never known about it. So it holds, like, it's special to me. Now it's like I buy it and I just think about that. Like, it's something that it means something. Like, yes, I'm a fan of the show and I love the art and everything, but it's a bigger deal to me just because of that. Because I look at it like at a time that I really wanted something, my mom went out her way and she did it. And in all honestly, it was just something she did from her heart. And like when I saw her face and everything at that day, like I'll never forget it. And it's something that I always, which is why I really love it. So it's like when it comes to trading cards, I try to get my kids into it and everything like that. So I'm going off and I'm saying all this other
No,
stuff.
you're
But anyway,
good.
so what in your can you share some insight into your collection and what's the most fascinating or what is most fascinating about these cards when it comes to Vee Friends? I
Yeah,
feel like a lot of people, some people just think it's just the hype and everything like that, but I feel like the more you get into it, there's things that you resonate with the cards, not just like their traits and all that stuff, but I feel like everyone has like their own reasons, just like I do with Yu-Gi-Oh. So what's yours? What's your connection with either Vee Friends or any of the other cards that you collect and that you have?
yeah. So me and my younger sibling, mostly my little brother, like we used to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Because the game's simple to an extent as well. Like with the base cards that you can get, especially when it was like the original. So something for us to do and connect with. And like Pokemon, the gameplay is confusing as hell, and it only makes sense on a Game Boy when you
Yes.
just take your attack and go. Like that's simple.
Yes.
But the game itself, like cards, like I don't know how Cowabunga's son plays all the time. And I don't know what any of that means. So like, no, thank you. But it was cool. That was our childhood. But Yu-Gi-Oh was something that we connect with. So I think like collecting with me, I don't have like an expansive sports card collection. There's like players that I like, and a lot of what I have is can I make money on this later? Like it's that arbitrage. But like with V Friends, I still like have that arbitrage kind of feeling, but it really put it into perspective, and I like the community kind of made me like think a little bit deeper. Is like, what do you want to collect and why? Like, do you just want to make money? If so, like great. Like I have slabs sitting next to me that I'm looking to sell. Like I can flip them, I can make some money. It's on to the next one. But like after I hit my black cat, like people are like, "What's your character?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about? What's my character?" And I'm just like, I don't know, pick like this one, and they're like, "Why?" I'm like, "What do you mean why?" Like now I have to have a reason for it. And then when I like started going through and like I'm wearing the fearless like corduroy hat, um, it made me, and the reason like with my collecting and like why I go for certain things is like it sticks true to like being a better person, like those soft skills that Gary talks about all the time. Like that's why I collect like what I did. Like I shouldn't have done it, but like I just bought another Series 1 card. I don't know, a very rare Focus Falcon Series
Yes.
1 that I snagged off eBay. And this originally, like the Falcon was going to be my character, like because I was like focused. I need to focus on what I want to do for the future. I was about to buy like the other thing that, and we'll talk about my Series 1 box, but like I need to refocus my spending. I need to refocus on who I want to be, what I want to be in the future. So like the Focus Falcon just stuck. And then I kept doing things that got notoriety with like things I was purchasing and hits I had. So like Legendary Lemur took over. They're just like, no, man, this is legendary. And then that turned into, well, I don't feel like I'm not a celebrity. I'm not a big deal. I'm not rich and famous. Like, what is this legendary mindset? But it forced me to be like, all of us, yourself, whoever's in the chat, we all can be legendary in our own regard. And if we strive to be legendary every single day we go out and live life and who we impact and what you do at work or what you do for your kids, like that's legendary. It's because you're leaving that positive impact on somebody else. So go be legendary. As like cliche or weird as that might sound, is you don't know, like you said, that moment with your mom, like that's a legendary moment that she was trying to do something for you and reach out. Oh, sorry. I have a whole bunch of things on eBay that are ending momentarily.
I respect it.
No,
Don't miss him. Go
no,
do your thing.
no. So yeah, like 14 minutes before another Falcon drops.
So he's he's in there bidding against Gary. Gary's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but like that, it made me think of like, all right, why am I collecting? What do I want to be as a person? And like, I hit my black cat. I got my lemur rainbow. I'm a 1 of 1 on the CNC away from the Falcon of having my like collection. So now it's like I collect for my lemurs, my falcons, and the community. Like I'm here for that, but it got me Vee Friends as a whole. I don't even know if I'm actually like answering the question, but like it, the collecting it's bigger than just cardboard. Like it's the connections that I'm building with people, and like looking at those cards and having that deeper meaning. Like I got a Just Jackal for my mom, so I have a core rare, very rare, and epic. So like that's something that I gave to my mom, and I'm getting them all graded. I got a Gary original, uh, originally owned core that she has right now, and I have to grade the other ones. But like the reason behind it is like I go by JJ at home. Like that's been my name my entire life. So the fact that I go by another nickname, Saugy, when JJ's already a nickname is still kind of weird to me. So like when people say Saugy, it's like who? Oh, that's me. My bad.
Yeah.
So like I got that because like JJ, Just Jackal is JJ, and she's always been that moral compass where like there was a way for me to connect something in a community that I found with my mother, who she's going out and she's buying things because she's like, oh, you're involved. And same thing with my sister. You love this. I want to see what this is all about.
I love
And
that.
it's brought us like tighter. It's also, I'm like, Mom, why are you buying that? You don't need it. Like she accidentally bought the Fuck You Monday Mole like rare card. She wasn't listening, but she was watching. She's like, oh, that looked cute. Like I liked it with the little flower. And then I told her what the card was. And I'm just like, Mom, like that's a quarter in your swear jar. Like, why do you have this? So now I need to sell it. But like, yeah, roundabout with that, it's why I collect is the people like you. It builds that connection, and we can compare, contrast, and what you collect is different what I collect, but there's an appreciation because it shows something a part of you that you can't tell by just walking down the street, which I think is pretty cool. No,
No,
I'm not that distracted. I got it on the side.
you got me. I knew it. I wanted to see if you
Sure.
noticed it.
No, there's a couple on there, so I got to pick one to focus on. But well,
He's like, nah, motherfucker. I got 4 phones right here. Just
no, good try. I got my work phone and
Look,
my
has his-
personal phone
look at
ready
his
to
dog
go.
on the couch next to him, just sitting there with the paw, just ready to.
Yeah. 11 minutes. But no, again, I don't know if I really answered the question, but it's like
Nah, you
my
did, man. You did.
my collection is it's super narrowed now, which I think is cool because I spent a lot of money to get where I'm at, but it's built so many relationships. And like I wear one of these hats almost every day, like going into work. And it's a reminder. Like, I used to be terrified of failure. I still am to a point, but I'm better with it. Where, like, if you just live with a little more fearless, and you take your chances, you put yourself on a podcast with yourself, and you put yourself live, like, good things can happen and memories are going to be made. Or like unwavering. Or I'm a big introvert, so like the outgoing head, I'll put it on when I'm feeling in my shell. And it's like a reminder to be like, dude, shut the hell up and just go. Like, go do something, talk to that extra person, buy that extra drink, like, have fun with somebody new. So like, that's where my collecting is now. It's selfish, where it's focusing on me and the person that I want to be, and finding things that resonate to me to be a better person. Which is, I don't know, it's still cardboard at the end of the day, but it means so much of that, because
Exactly.
you can look at it and be like, yep, I'm fearless today. Or like, my little sister loves the common sense cow because we're in Wisconsin. But like, if you think about it, like, having a little bit more common sense, like, I find myself like deep diving into all these characters when I'm looking at stuff, and you're just like, a piece of cardboard did that to you. Like, now all of a sudden you're thinking about your life and what you've done in the past because of this collecting. And that's what, like, this is my collection. I have way too much stuff. It's all around me. I have a folding table in my living room because I'm going through all my cores and sorting them, because there's like 3,000 and I need to start selling or or grading them.
I hear you, man.
But
It's
but
me, and I'm trying, like, I'm not in a good position yet when it comes to like being able to like support everyone and get into it. But I try my best to show up. I try to get stuff. I recently, like, I stocked up on a bunch of, like, before Macy's got rid of everything, I stocked up on a whole bunch of little, like, of the plushies and like the 6 figures and
and,
all that stuff.
and not to cut you off, but like what you said, like, you're trying to, like, you just being, and that's what I struggled with too. You being there is that support. And like, it's like, no, I need to hit buy now. Like, they
Yeah.
invited me to the Whatnot stream because they want me to buy, and I got in that, like, no, I got lucky and I hit a lot.
Yep.
So like, I supported them and I won at the same time.
Yep.
But I mean, you lose. My losses are plentiful, but I just don't share them. I don't
I
share
hear
them.
you. Yeah.
So, but like, you being present and you showing up is that support. And then like, your Macy stuff, I didn't know the Macy stuff existed until
Yeah.
I started seeing them, and I'm just like, what the hell is this? I
Yeah.
showed up to my Macy's and I bought them out. It's just like,
That's
I'm
that's
gonna scoop all of these.
that's the same thing that happened with me. I wanted to try and figure out a way to, like, because at first I was like, oh, how can I like give back or show them? Like, I would always be in it. Like, I totally, like, I'm against Discord now. Like, I was always on Discord in the beginning. I wasn't in Discord in the past at all until Vee Friends came along. I got into it. I was on it like every day. But then it came to a point that it was just really, I was getting too overwhelmed,
It's,
and I was getting
oh,
too,
for sure.
yeah, because
There's
I
too
was,
much going on.
there is. And then I started feeling bad because it's even now, like, I'll have people on the podcast and I try to show up to all their stuffs, like, to show them, like, yo, you on my thing, let me support you. But then sometimes I overthink, like, I can't make it to each and every one of their streams, or I miss one thing or two. So it's like, I always try to catch up and go back on. But I always get in my head where I'm like, oh, they don't see me in the chat, or they don't see me there, or they don't know
Oh,
that
for
I'm
sure.
watching. So I overthink, and I start looking at, like, oh, they think that I don't care. So I was, before I even did the podcasting stuff to the where I'm doing it now, I was always in the Discord of the community, always trying to interact with someone. But it got to the point that it was just so hectic that I just started beating myself up about it. And I was like, you know what, let me just stay away from it. And then when I backed away from it, I felt like, all right, I'm not in the community no more. I'm not, like, you start feeling like you're missing out, or all this stuff is going on and you don't know. And then little other communities started happening. To the Moon did their own thing. The V Fam sessions, V Dads, Josh and his thing. Like, everyone branched off to like these little things, and it's like it was still the same thing. It's still the same people, but it's just smaller groups of people that are still coming together, still with the same attitude, still with the same moral compass, and it's all those things that it really got me to be like, you know what, even though I'm not in the main Discord and all that stuff, like, I'm still a part of it. I'm still with those people and
So
everything.
that's why I took myself, like, Discord I'm still in, but what I don't like is how quick like things get toxic. And like, Discord is overwhelming, and then there can just be a lot of negative. And I'm a pessimist, like, big time. And like, you give me something and I'll tell you the negative side of it in like 2 seconds. Like, I'm just innately really good, really good at being negative, which is terrible. But like, so when I see that and like this community and like the collecting and just the people in general, I've been forcing myself to be better with flipping the script and like seeing things more positively. So like the Discord being so overwhelming, for me, every time I log in, there's just like some comment that strikes a nerve where I'm just like, dude, you're looking at this through like rose like colored glasses. Like you got to stop, take a step back, refresh, like calm down, pal. Like everything's going to be fine. You lost a little bit of money on something you bought. Cool. We all have. So like I kind of take myself out of that a little bit. But yeah, Discord, it being just present, like the people that are showing up here, like why are you here at 9:30 on a Tuesday listening to me, like listen to me just rant at this point? But like it's the people. It's fun. Like
No,
like
I hear you. It is. I feel like it's just you go from overthinking to then we just get into this thing where it feels like you're just hanging out with friends at a barbecue or something like that, and
yeah,
it just becomes natural. What I wanted to ask you next, which I'm really curious about, and I know this is going to be a drastic jump from Vee Friends to something else, but
yeah.
I'm really interested. What is going on with the Whiskey and Waffle Show?
Um,
What is it? Who's whiskey? What is Whiskey and Waffles? Like where that's in a before we even get there, I need to ask this. Where did the waffles thing come from? Like I know you mentioned his name,
yeah. So
out of
like,
all names, like
so yeah, my name. So Saugy came from my last name. It's a nickname that all of us had in sports. My dad went by it, my little sister, my brother. It's just something instead of saying our last name, which again it baffles me because I go by JJ,
yeah.
and that's almost as short as it can go. But like, let's put another nickname for the guy with the nickname. Why not? You're an athlete. Saugy sounds better. Sure. But I just remember going back to like second grade when you're learning like cardinal directions and all of that. You start doing like I ended up I thought I created it, but apparently a lot of people did the same thing. But I was like, never eat soggy waffles. And I'm like, shit, that's me. Like
Gotcha.
soggy's in there. You spell it a little bit differently and it works out. So then waffles is just a joke. But I've never used like soggy waffles as a nickname. My little sister, like it was more I wanted my username that I had to create to get on Fanatics to be like an homage to something, not just like my first and last name. So then I like Soggy was part of that, and I'm like, fuck it, Soggy Waffles. It's unique. It's out there. Like I'm never gonna use this, or people aren't gonna use it to like describe me. So like, who cares? Just put it, use it.
And
Uh,
now
and
that's all
and
you
then yeah, and then it's there. It's just Soggy Waffles everywhere.
get.
So it's like it was just like a spur of the moment. I need to pick a username to log in, so it's not default name.
Do you regret it?
Uh, no, it's funny as hell. Like you can't help but like laugh when you look at it. And like
Yeah.
I just rewatched some of the streams, like when Rips, Connor, and Gary, like when they say soggy waffles for the first time, you can be like, I just lost to a fucking waffle. Like
Exactly.
what the hell is soggy waffle? And like you can listen to a couple of them, you can hear people in the background and they're like laughing their ass off. They're like, soggy waffles? What the fuck is this? And I'm just like, I don't know, man. It just works. And now here I am. I'm on streams. I'm buying stuff. And my name is, I was flown to CGC. Like, I'm that waffle. Like, get over it. But like,
It's crazy because those are like the type of names you see like bot accounts kind of make. Like
oh,
you know
yeah,
what I
for
mean?
sure. Like,
When
you
you
make
scroll
Call of
up,
Duty, like
yeah,
Modern Warfare, and that's your default gamer tag on
yeah,
Xbox.
you get what
Yeah.
I'm saying. So like when I first,
Yeah.
it was like today, my friend was like, he was like, "Yo, let's hang out, come over." And normally, like I always go over. This is my best friend Eric, my only friend that I talk to, and I always chop it up with him. I introduced him to the space. He loves it and everything. And then today he was like, "Yo, what are you doing later tonight?" Because I normally go over there just to hang out with him when we talk and kick it. And I'm like, yo, I can't. I got a live stream to do. He was, oh, who's going on today? I'm like, Soggy Waffles. He was like, what the fuck? He's like, what does that guy do? I was like, well, we're gonna find out today.
Yeah. Say, I don't know. That dude's sucking. He sells basketball hoops. Plot twist.
But
But
let's get back to the real question. I see people in the chat; they're curious too. What is going
oh
on
no.
with the Whiskey and Waffle Show? How did that come up? Like, how did that spark? And what's going on? How like what can we expect?
Uh,
When can we expect it? Like,
so how it came on this is where I'm gonna be super vague with it because it's gonna go where it's gonna kind of go. And if you guys don't know who Whiskey Jack is, it's I Ben Kind's brother out of Texas. So it's the Texas Boys, who has all of their streams. And if you don't know who he is, you should because he's the better half of Whiskey and Waffles, for sure. Um, but no, it started as me and Poke Scoot were talking about like To the Moon had their they had their drop, and I'm going to be distracted for a little bit because it's about
No,
to
all
end
good. I
with the
know. I know.
bidding. But no, Poke Scoot and I laughed because like he's big into YouTube and all of that stuff. So you're like, yeah, they asked me to make a video about like what's happening with To the Moon, but wrong answers only. So me and Poke Scoot I asked like permission, be like, hey, can I make up a fake like stream with you and like just to make it happen. Let's have fun. And then me and Whiskey were on with Chels that Friday night before, just kind of shooting shit and having fun. Where like Whiskey, Jack, and Soggy Waffles just kind of took over, and she's like, "Yeah, you guys are just taking over my stream. Like, thanks a lot, guys." And like that's where the idea just kind of like got put in my head. Oh, someone just outbid me. That's a bummer. They overpaid on an off-centered card. That's fine.
I'm never gonna
Uh,
hear the end of it. He's gonna
no.
blame me for the rest of eternity.
No, that was more than I wanted to pay, so I'm okay with that. I have my limits.
I owe Soggy a card now.
Yeah, no, you're all good. I got the very rare today, so they just have a core, so mine's
He's like,
better.
screw it.
Yeah, mine's good. But anyway, so it started as all right. We took over Chelsea's stream, and I have to make. I did my video and posted. And I did like three things that To the Moon was doing with their big release. And I was like, I was dropping some merch like Soggy Waffles, like they did for Corso. And then Whiskey and Waffles was going to start a stream, and then I forgot what my first one was. So like it started as just I'm going to throw it out there, and then all of a sudden it just kept getting bigger and bigger and deeper, where people were asking like, "Hey, what's going on with this?" And I'm like, "I don't know. You're gonna have to find out." And then Sam and I were on like a couple more streams together, and we were talking about like business and what it could be. So like it started as, and I didn't even tell Whiskey I was doing this. I just put it in a video and just started a fire. So that's kind of like where it came from, which it's been fun. But in all sincerity, there's some things out there where if you know where to look or you're good at finding things, you can. There's some teasers out there.
I know. I've been looking. I'm not. This is why I'm asking. I've literally spent the other day. I'm trying to look around, and it's like I keep seeing tweets, and I'm like, all right, there's something out there. Like they're talking about it. Like they already have an episode or something floating. Yo, and I've been looking, and I can't find it. And I'm like, yo, I feel like it's right in front of my face, and I don't see it. So that's
No,
what I gotta ask when I get them on the stream because I know something.
we put something out there that's not on Twitter. We'll leave it vague like that. I won't say much more than that. Like there's stuff in the works. Where is it going? I don't know. I think we can go a lot of different avenues, and I think originally that was my answer just as a cop out. But in all honesty, I mean, look at Josh and what he's doing, and then To the Moon as well is like literally all of what we're doing. Same thing with yourself. Like it can go in 17 different directions, and you can go back and forth, and you can change course, and this will work or that doesn't, and you just find your kind of path that way. So like that's kind of what this is we have no clue what tomorrow is for Whiskey and Waffles. We don't know what 6 months is from now. But we're gonna ride into it. We're gonna run with it. We're gonna have a lot of fun with it. And is it a podcast? Is it a stream? Is it like a weekly review? Is the first stream just a shot glass of whiskey and a waffle next to each other, and that's all that you see? I don't know. Like, did I just tell you our first stream? Who knows? But is it? Yeah, is it going to be like me and Whiskey just sitting there not acknowledging or talking to each other because he's very stoic and doesn't always say a lot of things? Like, could be therapy with Whiskey and Waffles where you just come on, we'll look at you, not say a damn word, and you just talk. Like, so no, there's a lot of possibilities. Nothing's narrowed down. So I knew you were going to ask, and I was trying to figure out like what's the PR, like public relations, like answer I should be giving. But no, there's a lot that it can be. But it's crazy to see the support from this community coming from a video that I posted to when is the show starting to Ben saying I just lost whiskey
Yeah.
So good luck to Whiskey and Waffles. To people who are like, when is it starting? I want to be there. I want to support it. I'm just like,
That
who are you people?
That's why I'm like, yo, I have to. I'm like, yo, is this real? Is this just
Yeah,
a bit that they're dragging out, or what? And that's the thing that really got me to be like, yo, this is something going on. When Ben was like, all right, well, I'm losing, and I'm like, oh shit, this isn't a joke. Like they're really doing something. So I'm like, yo, what's? And then you guys started messing
yeah.
with the comments. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Like, what is going on? Just tell us already. Like,
Well, and that's what I think is a lot of fun with like I like to poke at things and like with whiskey I think we have a similar sense where we can like play off of each other like when we were with Chelsea and like have a lot of fun with the stream that we were on without saying a lot. So like we have this whiskey and waffles that's out there, but we really haven't said anything about what it actually is. But it's talked about with a lot of people, and, like, I've gotten rips to say stuff about it, and then, like, you mentioned something, and you're like, "Dude, I gotta ask." Like, the fact that you said, "I have to ask this guy about it," is we're planting the seed where
yo,
but it's there. Like,
I don't,
something's happening,
I don't
but what's
know.
happening?
I don't know if you guys, if this is like tactically planned out or what, but you guys are doing a really fucking good job of everyone's like, yo, what's,
Yeah,
it's like that thing, what's in the box? Like,
yeah,
what's going to happen? Like, but
yeah,
I've been waiting, man. I'm waiting. I really want to like, because like I always been curious to know more about you. I've been trying to
yeah,
get Whiskey on. Whiskey's always busy and everything. I want to like really reach out to him and have him come on the thing, especially after talking to Ben. I see how they are with each other. And what I mean, I tell Ben all the time, like, I always wanted a brother, and seeing you guys and how you are and how you communicate with each other and how like I just wish I had someone that I can bond with like that over things that we have similar interest on, and just hold each other down, back each other up. And just seeing the way that they are with each other, it really gets me to like, it makes me love this space even more. The more and more I get to know people, I went from really judging people from how they looked and thinking like, all right, they're not the type of person that would talk to me or give me the time of day or want to listen or anything. And I've been proven wrong every time in this community, bro. Like everywhere that I've tried to look for like something that's like, all right, this can't be all sunshine and rainbows. There has to be. And bro, I haven't found anything to make me not like this space or not want me to get involved and I love it. And it's because of people such as yourself, such as Whiskey, such as Ben, and everyone in the chat that's right now. This is like it just bugs me out that this is all from these little cartoon characters that
yeah,
what I'm saying,
and
that we
that's
what I mean, like
And that's what I think the craziest thing, like my first original streams on Fnatic, they were cool. Like it's a memory, like I screenshot or like I screen recorded it. So I have those clips forever, right? Of like Gary yelling at me, calling me an asshole, saying, fuck you, you stole that. And like also in that box, I'm 90% sure, like I bought like 5 boxes that week and they all came at the same time. But I'm 90% sure the box that I stole from Gary. You know Tina, right? You've like seen her
yes,
artwork.
yes.
So like I'm 90% sure it had the one of one buzzard in that card that I ended up getting over to Tina. So like the box that I stole from Gary had a one of one in it. 90% sure. Like I don't remember the exact artwork on it, but I'm like the fact that I can steal a box from Gary, make a memory, and then get a one of one card that means so much to Tina all in like it the weird thing like that started to like okay there's something going on here that I need to
So
figure out that doesn't make any sense but I'm going to keep on going but like I also opened that one of one and I'm like what the hell is a bubbly buzzard like is this
yeah.
good but like thankfully I connected with Tina super quickly and then got it where it should be back at her place but like the bigger side was were you around like when I opened my series 1 box by chance like
No,
did you
no.
go
I saw, but I wasn't there. No.
So like I go back and watch me. Like during that, I was clueless as hell. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I bought. I just bought it. And like the crazy part about that when I said like refocus kind of goes back. I was gonna buy the duplex that I live in. So like I was at a point, I'm 32, I'm like, I want to buy my home. I want to get a fenced in yard for my dog. But the prices are just stupid where I'm at right now, where I like it. So like I'm gonna buy my duplex. My landlord reached out. I'm gonna be a landlord. Like I'm gonna make this happen, and I'm gonna do something for me. Like this could be cool, and like this is something that I could do. We couldn't agree on prices, so like it failed last minute because after the inspection, like air conditioner was 20 years old, water heaters were both 30. My furnaces were over 25. And I'm just like, that's a lot of money that I have to pay right out the front to be a good landlord for my neighbors who I've grown to like. I've been here, I think, 2 years with them. So I'm like, I need to replace all that. Same thing with the window. So I was like, give me credit and mark it down to here, and then I'm good to go. He refused. He was using like COVID pricing still. He's in the
Yeah.
game. Like he can probably get it, but like there's no guarantee he's going to get it. So I backed out. So I had this deposit I had that I was gonna go buy my duplex with. I'm like, well, I was defeated. I was a little bit deflated. Like this is what I was gonna do. And then To the Moon shows up, and they're like Series One box, and I talked to Tom and Jay, and I was like, what is a Series One box? And they told me a little bit about it. And they were offering like they're selling spots, and I was like, what if I just buy the whole thing? And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, what if I just buy all of it? Right? You said there's one of one. The only way to guarantee I get it is if I buy the whole thing. So at like 2, 3 in the morning, I sent a message to Jay. I'm like, hey, I'm in. I bought the box. I just sent you the funds. He woke up randomly, saw my text message, and was like, no way, whatever, make a big deal. So it was like a 2 a.m. decision of me just being like, screw my landlord. I wanted this. He wouldn't let me have it. I'm going to go do something. It was something stupid. Was I just dropped, I mean, what are they going for right now? Like 6 grand?
Yeah.
Let's just go drop 6 grand on a box that I have no clue what's inside of it. So like that got me back to my old collecting days where like I splurge bought a lot, where I'm just like I could get a one of one in here. I'm gonna go get it, and then my whole case that I bought was shit. And I'm like, why did I open that?
Yeah.
That was dumb. Um, but like I bought the box, and like obviously like that stream is out there. It's huge, but like yeah, Joseph, like
Yeah. I was being,
because I because I didn't buy my duplex and I was upset about it, like I pulled the bubblegum black cat. Like it's crazy how something that I was so like I was heated and like you talked like I was upset with my mom, like not with my mom, but like I was venting to her. Like I wanted this so bad. I worked for it. I saved. I went through the process. Everything looked good, and then it was taken from me, and so I was like super bitter. But it created an opportunity where, and that's why I said like you should go back and just watch me. I had no clue what the hell was happening. Like I was looking at the character, I didn't know the series one drawings well enough, so like they're doing slow reveal. And I'm like, what is this? And I'm like, no fucking clue. Like this is great. And then when they do the black cat, I'm sitting there and like the two ears pop up, and I'm like, okay, like this is cool. And they're all freaking out. They're like, no way, no, it's not. I'm like, good thing my hands aren't there because I was shaking, not knowing what it is.
yo,
And all of a sudden they pulled the black cat, and all of, like Jay
that was
doesn't
crazy.
like
Yeah.
show a lot of emotion or like scream like Tom does. And he's running out. He got out of his chair. Tom breaks his chair. Chelsea's screaming my name, and I'm
Yo.
just like, "Is that good?" Like that fucking cat. I did it. And then the next card was the Autokine Warrior, and like the little heart showed up. And right when they saw the heart, all of them freaked out again. They're like, "This is the box." I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like this doesn't make sense to me." With like the depth of the characters that I had within that box. So like go watch my like naive nature and like my reactions to everything compared to like what the chat. I went back and read the chat, and like it was all over my head, and I was like, I look like a bozo. And then my dog needed to go outside, so I took her outside right after. And Chelsea's like, "What's wrong with this guy? He just pulled a black cat. He just opened an entire Series One box, and he's taking his dog outside. Like what's wrong with him?" But like that moment like made me be like, all right, everything happens for a reason.
Yo.
And like I got a whole bunch of luck, and it's a 2 a.m. decision that ended up working out. It flew me to Florida, so I got to go to CGC, build those memories, take my first vacation that I took at a resort that we used to stay at all the time when we visited my grandparents in Florida. They both passed away, so kind of like rekindled those memories of we stayed at Madeira Beach just outside of Tampa. Um, Rekindled all of that because I bought because of a card. But then as you go deeper, it's more than just the card. It's the relationships that it's now made. It's the connection that like I have. I make fun of my sister all the time. They're board game nerds, like huge board. You go in their basement and it's just a wall of board games. I'm like, you guys are weird. I don't like this isn't for me. Like she joked before, like I made fun of her for streaming and like being friends with them. Like I just don't get this. Like why? why do you love that community so much? Like, it's weird to me. And then I find Vee Friends, and like, she never said this, but she's like, now you know. Like,
Yep.
now you get what we do. And so, like, we've built a connection off of that because now she's like, yeah, now you're the weirdo that buys cardboard of characters that Gary draws himself. Like, now who's weird? Well, it's me. Um, but like, it's the connection, that deeper dive within it. And again, it took a bitter moment of not getting my duplex to a 2 a.m. decision, buying a full box, to hitting the bubblegum black hat, to flying to Florida, to like, it's just a series of events that, like, everything happens for a reason, which I don't like saying because like it's taboo in a way, and I think overused in a lot of different ways. But like, the series of what I used to look at things so negatively, it was a blessing in disguise. I didn't get my duplex so I could buy that box and I could meet all of these people. I could be talking to you right now. If I didn't buy that box, I wouldn't be here. Like, it's crazy that one decision and one bad thing actually turned into a whole world and a lot of people that I'm gonna care about for a long, long time. And like, I think that's what the extension of that collecting goes to, is like, we're here for the long haul. We're here for friendship, relationships. The cardboard is great. Like, I just lost a Focus Falcon core card that I'm not upset about because like, we're chopping it up here. It's not the price that I wanted, but you get a clip of me losing out on a bid, like being like, now you're gonna blame me for losing it. But we can sit and laugh about it because like, it's fun. Like, it's bonding. It's a relationship.
Yeah.
And like, and that's what's cool about this, is it creates bonds, it creates stories, it creates memories. And like, I don't know, man, it's cool. Like, the fact that we can chop it up and talk about everything but Vee Friends for the longest time is speaks to what Vee Friends is and what the community is all about and what collecting is going to be for the future.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I agree, man. I love that about this space also. It's just we basically go from just having one thing in common to little by little we notice that there's a lot of other things we have in common or that we have similarities in and things like that. So it's again, it's one of those things that unless you really put yourself out there and get out of that comfort zone, and it's hard. When I say this, I know it's hard for a lot of people to just open up to everyone. Trust
oh,
me.
I'm,
So,
I'm right
especially,
there.
like I said, I was never, I was always like Mr. Tough Guy and all this stuff. And this wasn't until this community that I realized that I didn't have to do that. And it was mostly because the more and more I was involved in a space, or the more and more I showed up for little things here and there, even if I was just watching, I started to feel safe. Like I realized that no one's really judging you. No one really cares like about any of the stuff that you're worried about, or you think that's the first thing they think about, or they notice. They don't care about none of that. And that's the only thing that really keeps me in this community, is just the love, the support, the fact that
100%.
people they don't deal with the bullshit. And I love that. I feel like a lot of other things are really fake. And in the beginning of Vee Friends, when it first started, I felt like it attracted so many people that it was hard to tell who was there for the right reasons or not. And then I feel like after the bull run and all that, a lot of people, got filtered out of that. And then the ones that really stayed were not only just the ones who believe in the brand, but just the people who are really there for one another and just there for the actual community and for just the conversations, the interactions, the relationships that you build and everything. It's like I say, I don't, to me, it's a big deal. This is me going out. I don't like, I say it to people,
Oh,
and I know people look at it like, oh, yeah, you say that, but I really don't talk to no one. And I don't say it for sympathy or nothing. I don't have friends. And it's not because of anything like, oh, no one likes me and poor me. And it's just the fact, it's like you said, time goes on, people grow apart, things happen, life happens, and you just don't have that bond or connection with people like you used to. Like it's still there, but it's just not
it's
what it
different.
was. Yeah, it's different. It's not that it disappeared, it's not that it no longer exists. It's just a little different than what it was. And because of that, like it got me to really notice that the things that I'm interested in, people like I tried to like all the people that I used to speak with and see 24/7, like I would try to introduce like, yo, this thing of NFTs and blockchain and all, but they looked at it a different way than I did. Instead of looking at it like it's an opportunity or it's something that could lead to this or that, or they either didn't want to look at it that way, or they didn't care, or they just took it for whatever anyone else would say. So it's like, the more and more I looked at it like that, I'm like, yo, it's not really about that they don't know. They just really don't care about it. And I went from really trying to like push it on them, like, yo, you gotta do this, you're gonna miss out, to the point that I looked at it like, yo, this just isn't their thing. You know what I mean? They have another thing that they're focused on, or something else that brings them that peace, or that sense of a safe place, or whatever it is. And that's the only reason I kept trying to push this on to people, was like, yo, it's now, I bought all those plushies and all that stuff, and it's not because like I'm trying to get something out of it. I looked at it like Vee Friends and VCon and all that. I got that at a time in my life that I needed it, a time that I
Oh,
thought
100.
I was alone, that I was lost, that I didn't. And when I say it to other people, they look at it like, oh, you're just saying the same thing that every, and again, I don't say it for sympathy or nothing. I say it because I know for a fact that I went from thinking I was the only one who would stay up talking to himself like a fucking crazy person till 3 o'clock in the morning, or having these sessions where I start breaking down, crying, or stressing out about stuff that I can't change no more, or things that I'm stressing about in my life now. And the more and more I got into the space, I realized, like, bro, I'm not the only one that deals with those things, or that has these thoughts or feelings, or feels confused. Like, there's other people out there. And then you would think to yourself, like, yo, why am I going to talk to someone else who's just like me? What are they going to offer me that I don't already fucking know? And it's not until you really have that conversation with that person that you're like, all right, you know what I mean? It's that situation where it's like, you think you have it bad until you meet someone else who has it worse. And then you realize, like, yo, you're bitching and complaining about the wrong shit. And like, you have
Yeah,
no right to, because this other person is literally without a fucking arm or an eye, or like lost family members in it, and you're here stressing about some shit that literally isn't a big deal. Like, you're crying over spilt milk when this person's literally like, they've lost more than you. And if they can
yeah,
find a light at the end of the tunnel, bro, there's no reason you can't. And that's the way I was looking at things. And again, it just took me getting out of that mentality, or that comfort zone, or that thing of judging people, what, not in a negative way, but just in a way of like, all right, this person's not going to give a shit of what I have to say or what's going on with me.
yeah.
And
That's the crazy part, though. Like what you just touched on is, I mean, l- look at like the major people that just like stream a lot. You got Jay, who's in like the tech field. Tom is crime scene, like cleanup. You got Josh, who's big into fitness. He played pro ball and big into athletic training. Like all of these, and those are three very, very different people that have all come together under Vee Friends and growing the community with what they're trying to do with like their own streams and selling cards and just like community engagement. But like three people that may have never crossed paths. Like look at Jay and Tom because they're like business partners. There's no Vee Friends. Do those guys ever meet? Does like To the Moon ever become like real and what it is? Like Jay obviously started it on his own, and then like brought Tom on, but like would that be a business venture that Jay would have taken on his own without a guy like Tom and grown it to where he is? You don't know, but like you said, like real recognizes real. Like Josh and I, we had a moment a couple weeks ago, where I said something that it didn't. I meant it very sarcastically. It didn't land sarcastically, and I sensed that, so I just like I ducked out of the chat. I left, and it was fine. Like I was like it didn't hit, so I'm out of here. I'm not going to take away from what you're doing. But what's different with him and like this community is he reached out to me and was like, "Hey, dude, what's our beef? I don't want this. Like, let's talk this through. Let's be men about it. Let's have a conversation." We said our piece. I said what I was trying to say. He said what he took it as, and I'm like, "Oh, I respect it. I apologize." And now we're good. But like you do that in the real world sometimes, you say something that doesn't hit with somebody, you're never talking to that person again. They're like, "Yeah, fuck PR. He said that." Like that's the crazy part with this community and like the people here is you can say something to someone, they'll hear you, they'll listen, they'll say their side of it. You may not agree, but you're gonna have conversation and come out the other end better from it. And you may not be as tight, but you had that dialogue. And like
yep,
those are the relationships that mean more is because you're growing and these people care to have you grow. And there's people in this community that I don't talk to as much as when I did start in October. But like you get this feel where someone said like Vee Friends in 2021 is very different than what it is in 2024. and I only know it since October. So I openly admit that I don't know, like during minting, I don't know the promises or the guarantees or what Gary said back in 21. I don't know, and I truthfully I don't care because I wasn't there. I know what he's saying now. I know what this community is about now, and that's why I'm here is for the now. So I met a couple people that I thought were good people that kind of welcomed me in, but I realized they're back in 2021 and they're focused on what they thought it was going to be and not what it is or what it's going to be tomorrow. It's just not worth. I mean, I think we all have a lot of those relationships, right? Where it's not worth holding on to. And in the past, I would, because like you strive for that connection and that bond with somebody, and you feel bad for letting them go. But in reality, it's super healthy to just let it go. And that's what it's super cool. And again, it's the community. It's not about, Rob Messer says it all the time. It's, you don't have to have a V friend to be a V friend.
I agree.
Which, I mean, it's on repeat. He says it all the time whenever he's on streams. He says it himself. But like the Messers are a great example of all of that. Like you don't have to have a spec VF1. You don't need to have a VF1 in general. Like you just be here. You don't need to spend a ton of money. You don't need to buy a Series 1 box. You don't need an NFT. Just exist and be yourself and have a like be a great person. And you're a V friend. You're here and the community's going to love you for it. Now, they like when you buy stuff, obviously, because it helps everyone that you're buying from. But like, you don't need it, and that's what's super cool. And like that's where like I pulled out like, and I look at it all the time because I still have it at my house. But like the black cat, like what it looks like.
Sexy as ever.
Like, yeah, Rob asked me like, what does that mean to you? And it's just like, one, I'm kind of lucky to be here and like be alive because I was in a very dark place where I could have easily taken that extra step and been done and like been out of here. And you don't realize like how little time you have in the relationships that you've had in the past until you buy something. But like this took, again, something negative and I was pissed about turned into this relationship, turned into our conversation. And it's just like this did it. Like this card opened up all these doors and opportunities and whiskey and waffles and chatting it up with PR and like going to CGC and now VCon and like all this stuff because of a card. Like it's crazy. And that's where like the black cat is, it's sought after. It's the face of Vee Friends, but it means so much more because of my path of where I got, which is, I don't know, man. It's crazy to see and go down that because you can have that one character, that one person, or that one moment that's the same exact thing for you, and it has nothing to do with hitting a Series 1 box and getting a black cat.
100%.
Which is so freaking cool because you don't need to spend that six grand like I did to have that same moment, and like that's what sets this apart, and like that's what is cool about this space is you just exist. I mean, my sister, like, she doesn't have a ton. She started buying, even though I told her and my mom really not to. Like, she's getting involved, and she was on a late night stream with the Fro fam, which was super cool to see. Like, I jumped in, saw my sister was there, and I jumped out. I'm like, have your moment. Like, I want you to see why every day I come home from work, I put it on my TV, I put it on the Twitch, whoever's live, and I listen in. Like, to your point, like that's you going out. That's you hanging out with the bros, like grabbing a beer. Like I'll crack open a seltzer, I'll put the stream on Twitch, and we're hanging out for the rest of the night. And like that's what's so cool about this space. And it creates conversations like this. Like a year ago, would you and I have ever like said, "Hey, on Tuesday we're gonna chop it up and go live"?
Probably
Hell
not.
no.
No.
I would have had no clue who you were.
Yep.
And like that's the cool thing about this is, besides my sister in the chat, I would have known none of these people. You had Brofit, like he played in a volleyball tournament in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, that I played in. Like, so we could have crossed paths at some point in our past.
Crazy.
We had no idea, but also we have that connection with volleyball. He knows exactly what that is. I would have had no idea without Vee Friends. And like, I have so many of those moments that it's just, it makes it very surreal.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's where you don't need to spend, you don't need to, just supporting with your presence and having conversation like makes you a true V friend. And I think that's what like Gary is like today is trying to push and like get at is just exist, like be out there, put yourself out there, be the best person that you can be. You're not happy with your life, shut the hell up and do something about it. But understand you got people around you that are going to help you and push you to whatever goal you're trying to hit. And like this community is, I don't know how this popped into his damn head or like why he did what he did, but like it helped. Like saving my life is drastic because I was in a much better place when I found Vee Friends. But like for many people, like it can save lives, and not to be dramatic about it, but like it's creating friendships and memories and connecting people like me and my little sister a little bit tighter because I understand why she's such a board game nerd. Like because of the community and the people that she met. Like she took her honeymoon in Orlando to a board game convention. Like aren't you supposed to go to like Mexico and like have a all inclusive and drink a whole bunch and like get sunburned and just have no cares for a week? No, you go to a board game convention. But like I didn't get it until I flew to Florida with Tom, Jay, and Chelsea to go get some cardboard graded, where I got to see CGC, I got the behind the scenes, I got to meet like the people behind the company, where I'm like, oh, this is what my sister was talking about, and I was poking fun at her. And I'm a big brother, so I'm supposed to, but like now I get it, and that's when that light bulb moment goes out. And I think like your conversation with Ben was that was kind of like your light bulb moment like a week after. You're like, oh shit, like I don't know exactly what I want to do with this, but I know I'm going to do something. So like same thing with whiskey and waffles is like you and what you're doing and clocking out and like your streams, it can go in 17 different directions next week, but you're still going to be doing something. And just like our conversation is I can tell like in our convo and then just everything in the past, you listen and you take something from everyone that you speak to, and like you can tell in the next conversation like you pulled something out and like you related it to that next conversation and you pushed through. Like art, you brought up Savvy and like what she did for you, and I'm sure there's going to be some moment in this chat you're probably going to ask the next person, hey, check your eBay, do you have any bids expiring on this day? Because I don't want I
Yeah,
don't want to I
exactly.
don't want you to lose out on a card because of
100%.
me. Kind of thing.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
like no man, it's all surreal, which is it's crazy. It's kind of going off on like a tangent with that, but it's when you sit back and think about it, like it's overwhelming in the best way possible.
I hear you, man. No, it's true
Which is
because
crazy.
sometimes it depends on how we take it, man. If like it's like you say, some of us get overwhelmed and we know how to pivot and adapt to it. Others, it's a little bit too much for it for us, and we go back to what we know, and we create those habits and they become repetitive, and it's either the voice in our head or just that gut feeling that we get. It's like, all right, we got to switch it up, or we got to do something, or we have that person that speaks that into us and gives us that little kick in the ass. And but it's that, man. I really, I went from just collecting because it was something that was nostalgic and brought me some form of peace, or I forget. I know it sounds cornier and or something, but it's like, bro, I literally, when I first did this, before To the Moon was a thing, I started stacking up on cards. And that was my, like, I'm like, yo, I like opening cards. I'm gonna open card, but it wasn't
Oh,
Vee Friends. It was just
it's
Pokemon and all.
it's
So
addicting, man. It's
exactly.
terrible.
So the way that I got that feeling, I would rip packs by myself, and I still do it. And sometimes I rip them and I would post them up, and then the only one who would see it and say something was Ben. And I would literally, I'd just be, one day I'd be stressed, and I'd come home after work and I'd stop at 7-Eleven or whatever was open late night, and I'd buy a pack of booster packs or some shit, and I'd come here and I'd rip it open. Or if not, I'd go to a trading card store and I'd go and buy a few booster boxes and just come here and rip them up and see what I got. And it got to the point that I was like, I like doing this because it reminds me of something. It gives me a certain feeling. I was like, for whatever it is, I was like, but that's my thing. I was like, I like it. You know what I mean? It's the thrill of the hunt, of not knowing
Oh,
what you're gonna get. And you know what I mean? It just becomes like
it's
that
such a
addicting thing.
high.
Exactly. And it's like you really don't understand it until you really start getting into it. Some other people are like, bro, I don't get it. You're just opening a pack, and what does it matter? It's
No,
you say it's more to us. It's more than just
yeah,
cardboard. To everybody else, they're like, bro, it's a piece of paper that's stuck onto a thing, and they don't see it or
yeah,
have that. So I always wanted
100%.
to do that with somebody, and then I started feeling, like I said, this was before Tom and everything. And I started feeling like, yo, no one is gonna give a shit about this. I'm like, yo, I'm 34 years old, ripping up packs and shit, and I'm like, they're gonna be like, what are you doing? And so
Yeah,
I was like, I would hide it, and it wasn't until To the Moon came out, and I'm like, yo, you see, I was holding back because I was thinking of, and I'm like, yo, there's other people that are my age that are doing this, that have similar interests, that are,
that's the crazy thing too, right? Is you looking at just the age side of it, and like ripping to your point real quick, it's addicting as hell. Like
yes,
I talked to, I don't know if you've talked to like bisexual barista at all, which I think he's got a cool story on like what he wants to do with coffee, and all that. Like definitely like connect with him, but like him and I'll go back and forth. Or like shit, bought another box. We went on eBay, like Jay, on To the Moon. He pulled a gift code out of a random pack that he bought on eBay. So what did Bisexual and I do? We went on eBay and bought out the rest of the packs from from that person. And like we'll have a rough day at work. We're going through some stuff, and I was like, man, long week, and he's like ripping a box question mark, and I'm like, already started. Like it's just that high of, even if it's by myself, it's that like that thrill, that rush. But like it's not just for me. Like sports cards did the same thing a couple years ago, like during COVID, during that boom. But it didn't. Uh, it doesn't hit that, like doesn't scratch that itch. It was just like, man, I bought a box and it sucked. This blows. Like I bought. Uh, I opened a box on Saturday, I think it was. I have a whole box of miscuts. Like the whole entire box it's off. You can see the start of the next card, so I'm going to grade it, hopefully get a mix cut, and then I have an entire box of error cards. Which something so negative, like you see that for a sports card, you get pissed, but like all of a sudden you're like, hold up, like this could be something special.
yep,
The three foils are fine, but now I got 50 cards or 49 cards that are errors in the whole box that I'm like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. Like people have
yep,
already said, I want to. If you're not grading it, like I'll buy it and I'll grade it. And I'm like, okay, like this is fun. This
yep,
is onto something. But man, it's that high, and it's to your point. Like you said, you did it like in secret, right? It was like your secret addiction. You're like,
yeah,
man, like I'm 32, so like I'm right there with you. Like I told a couple of my friends after I hit the black cat and like I booked my flight to Florida. Like I told them what it was, and they look at you like,
what the fuck?
what
Yeah,
what the
exactly.
fuck? What the
Especially
fuck
with
is
the
that?
name, yeah, like they
who
don't.
who who drew that? And I'm like, oh, Gary V. And they're just like, oh, I know Gary V. But they go back to it like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know, but I love it. And it's just every single time you open a pack or a box or every stream you jump on, that love and that passion just gets deeper and deeper because you build more connections. You have more people you're talking to. Like someone's going to watch this, like what you're doing, and be like, man, PR did this on the podcast. I'm going to start talking to people and I'm going to stream it. Or I'm going to get, like you mentioned, music. I want to rekindle that love of music, or like editing or something. Or I mean, who knows, someone may hit you up and be like, hey, I want to do something with your socials and help you out and grow what you're doing, all because you took the time to go live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, whatever streaming like you're using.
100%.
And it all stemmed from, you knew it for a while, but you love ripping that shit in the background. But now other people who are grown ass men and women, who a lot of them have kids, we're in our 30s and some 40s, and like we're the oldies going through those 90 kids, just still living in that nostalgia
Yeah,
of the Pokemon, the Yu-Gi-Oh, the ripping stuff. But like it's so much more than that now, and that's the crazy thing, is what we did as a kid is now some people making a living. You get some people that are making huge money flipping cards and like moving things. But like the community that we had as a kid is now real at 32 and 34.
yep,
Which is crazy to see, because we all had like our buddies with Pokemon, and you brought your binders and like you traded,
yeah,
and
yep,
you played on the Game Boy and all that other stuff, and you're like, now I have Vee Friends. Like we can play the game. Like eventually they're gonna have some sort of video game. Like you can, not a Game Boy anymore. There'll be an app on your phone. But
yeah,
like we're reliving our childhood with fucking Gary fucking V again. How it popped in his head and what he was doing. Like I'm not going to question the man because one, he makes a lot more money than I do, so obviously he knows something that I don't. But like the fact that he can bring all of us together with a simple idea and just like keep on pushing is it's crazy. But it gives us something to look forward to and hope and community, which it goes more than any dollar that he's going to earn off of Vee Friends. Is I think he's like I've gotten to like talk to him on FaceTime and we've emailed back and forth a little bit. Like like he remembers things about me that I'm just like, why the fuck do you know that?
Yeah.
Like why? Like who am I for you to know about my brother or about me or about my first stream? And like when we FaceTime in Florida, like he was like, "Yeah, I remember you talking about that on the stream." I'm like, "You were fucking watching? Like what is this?" And like he's that type of guy, and yes, he's going to rub people the wrong way. He's very abrasive. He's out there, he speaks his truth, but like he genuinely cares more than I think a lot of people give him credit for. And he remembers those connections and that community. So he could lose it all tomorrow, and like V Friends is still going to grow, which I think is cool and speaks to what he's growing here. Um, it better not go to zero tomorrow because we have a lot invested in this. So
Yeah. No,
he
but
can afford it a little bit more than you and I can.
yeah.
I don't want to speak for your finances, but
Yeah,
I
yeah, but
assume he's a
no,
little better off.
you're
But
right
like
on it. Trust me. But
like let's keep going a little bit here.
I agree though. I think that I honestly feel like if V Friends was to just disappear tomorrow, I don't think that's gonna do anything to us as far as like the community, the people that we met, the ones who show up. I don't think that's gonna stop people. I think if anything, I think that's just gonna make us come together even more because we're
Oh,
gonna go from having V Friends as our anchor or as our common, thing that we all share with each other to then we're just gonna pivot. I don't think anyone's gonna disappear. I think we're gonna pivot and look for the next thing that makes us all connect. And I feel it'll be even stronger than whatever V Friends is because it's gonna be a more personal thing, Right now
yeah,
we
for
we
sure.
use V Friends as like our entry point, and then we little by little we start branching off. Like I said, like it went from me thinking like V Friends was just a community in the Discord and stuff to when I got out of it I felt like I wasn't in it no more. I felt like I was missing out and all this stuff, and I started seeing all these other people branch out and start making their own little communities, but it was still, everyone in the V Friends stuff and everyone. So it's like I felt like no matter what happens, I couldn't get away from it, but it wasn't in a bad way where it was like in my face. It was just like wherever you turned, you got like a person that secretly you don't even really know is a V Friend. It's like you turn and you look at the mailman and he gives you a wink, and it's like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like a weird
Yeah,
feeling like that. The
yeah.
more I got into it, I was like, yo, you know what? I feel like no matter what, I always have a friend somewhere or someone who's willing to support or look out and I love it. Like I mentioned before, and I keep saying like V Friends just became it feels like it's a family. You feel safe. You feel like you have a lot in common with these strangers and people that you don't know from a hole in
That's
the wall. And it's a crazy thing.
and that's I don't know if you've had this, but like I've been more vulnerable and open with these people that I've never met before than I with people that I've known for 20 plus years.
A
And
hundred
you're
percent.
like, how the hell did you get me to say that
Exactly.
when I haven't admitted that to like myself? Some things like with my family, with like true feelings that you feel like you can't because you, especially like with our situation, you feel like you put that burden on your mom or your siblings. Like you don't want to add to anything, right? And then all of a sudden you're talking to these people. Like Ben is a perfect example of it. Him and I like opening it up. Like how Ben, like how the hell do you get us to open up like that and communicate like we do? But it's just like the type of people that you find in this community, which is crazy. And I don't know, it's surreal and it makes you think about life in a lot of different perspectives, which is cool.
I don't know what
But
happened.
that's
Sorry about that.
no, you just want to put yourself front and center. That's fine. No,
I was
you're
trying
good.
to
But like,
I was trying to answer bro fit and it just changed.
no, but to your point though, like you said, like the mailman, you just went in like like that's what like these hats. Like I wear one every day, and I there's people in Wisconsin that are like you chopped it up with B Miller, and then you got Polish and like Austin. So we got a couple guys up here and a guy named Rob. But like the cool thing is V Friends could go to nothing tomorrow, or like after the quarter hats drop, and you're walking the street and you see the fearless, you see the outgoing. You can look at each other, you nod, you smile, and then all of a sudden now you're thinking about like the Texas meetup that I got to go to and meet everybody.
Oh,
And all of a sudden, the Texas meetup isn't just Vee Friends meetup. It's, hey, remember these pieces of cardboard that we all spent a lot of money on that went to absolutely nothing? And you laugh about it, you have a good time, and you still have those relationships. Now, again, don't go to zero. Keep buying, keep growing.
yes,
We
yes.
need this, but like that's where you walk down the street. Like that's what I want to see in Milwaukee. Is I want to see someone when I'm going through a Brewers game, Bucks game, or something like them wearing one of these corduroy hats where I'm out and about, and you just smile and be like, "That's it." Like that's why. Like the same thing. Like when you walk around, you see Jays. Like people wearing Jordans. Like people connect on that level of sneakers.
Yep.
It's the same thing with seeing Vee Friends stuff around, and people still look. Why the fuck do you have a Falcon on your hoodie that you're walking into Quick Trip with at the gas station? I'm like, hey, don't hate. You're just jealous. You just don't know
Exactly.
it. You don't know
Yeah.
it yet, but you're gonna want one of these eventually, and you're not gonna be able to buy one because they were from 5 years ago.
Yep.
So take that. But
I
no,
completely I agree with you on that. I have like my friend Eric, when I introduced him to the space and I took him with me to VCon, he had no idea crypto and Vee Friends, and he knew who Gary Vee was, but he didn't know all this stuff was happening behind the
yeah.
scenes. He's like, what the fuck is this? And when I took him to VCon, he was just surprised. But what really got him even more was just how people were. And he fell in love with it. He goes, bro, I don't know what the fuck this shit is. I don't know what Gary Vee's on. I don't know what
Yeah.
he's trying to do. I don't know if he's scamming everybody or not. He goes, yo, but I love this shit.
But I'm
And he
in.
goes, he's like, yo, he's like, what do I have to do to be? I'm like, bro, you're in it. You're here. I was like, you're here. You're a part of it. He goes, real. I'm like, yeah, that's the way it works. He goes, no, I gotta buy a hat or a shirt or something. Like, no, bro, if you want to. I was like, but you don't have to. No one's gonna look at you and be like, you're not part of the club. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's nothing like that, bro. I was like, I thought it was the same shit. And he was surprised because if I was gifted through Tim Livingston of Vector Bots, which is now Living Bots now, he was the one that gifted me 2 tickets to VCon.
Yeah, I've
Because
seen a lot of his robot stuff with
yeah,
TJ big on socials right now. It's super cool because that goes above. I'm not big into that space.
mhm.
Like the fact that he's connecting like the two together and building that for the like not to go off a tangent with what you're going for.
No,
Like
no,
that's super cool to see because like he pops up. I watch all his videos every day when he posts.
yeah,
I've never met the guy. We've barely talked, but like I'm
and
there. I'm watching.
that's what I love about what he's doing, because I see it again. It's the creativity of the space and what people are doing. Because in all honesty, when people think of NFTs and crypto, they just look at it like, oh, it's money, it's a scam, it's this. But it's not until you really understand the whole technology behind it and how it functions that you start noticing like, yo, this isn't just strictly for this. Like, you can use it for other things and it makes sense. And that's the thing that blows my mind about it, is that people, instead of looking at that way when they're first introduced to it, they just look at it like, can I make money or not make money? And if I can, and if someone makes more money than me, it's a scam. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, for sure.
it's that's the whole thing. But then if you really take your time to break it down, like the thing that wrapped my head around it was like the thing, like I said, with Ryan Leslie and his whole situation. This dude was able to make money despite them freezing all his stuff. And that's the only thing that blew my mind. I'm like, bro, you're no one can stop you. No one can control you. No one can, like, that's the way I looked at it. And that's what blew my mind. I'm like, yo, this dude is doing something that clearly he's on to something. He's making money. He did it in a short period of time. And then this thing that really blew my mind was like, yo, he didn't have to go through a middleman or some bank account or some, like, that's the thing that I wrap my head around. And then when you look at that and you combine it with the fact that you can create your own communities that of actual people that, like, it's just a deadly combination if people really know what they're doing with it and really understand
Yeah.
it. Like, there are so many endless possibilities to it in a positive way. At the same time, that doesn't stop people from using it in a malicious way. So it's like, when you look at it of both, like both sides and lesser of two evils, or however you want to look at it, of like, all right, you can easily get away with this, but you can easily do this the right way. It scares people because they don't know it, they don't see it. But when you start understanding the possibilities of it and you start seeing like the benefits of it, not only financially, but like meeting people and interacting, and you see that it's more than just money or more than just codes and pictures, it's totally different. So it's like,
Yeah, for
the
sure.
value that I feel that not only the community, the space, and these people have, I feel like it tops anything and everything. And it's like you said, I've never had conversations like the ones that I've had with you or other people. Like I've never, yes, we talking it, but never in depth, never in like you can easily say, oh, I don't want to be here. I got to go. I said a few things and I'm out. You know what I mean? But people actually want to share and they want you to feel like, yo, like I'm listening, I'm here and I care. And like, yo, you're not alone. Let me share. Like, that's what I love about it. I went from looking at it one way to now I feel like, you know, we got so deep in the rabbit hole that we're in this point where it's like, yo, I really don't care where it's going. I'm just happy it's here and I'm enjoying the ride. Like, it's just, it is what it is.
Well,
And
that's 100% because like I could have stuck to when I bought my box. I could have made a quick flip, got all my money back and then some, had a new deposit for a new home, and Saugy Waffles would have been gone and done. And they're like, "Where'd that fucking waffle go?
yep.
He's gone in Wisconsin." Like no one knows. But like to your point, like for the NFT space, did you pay attention at all when like Steamboat Willie, like the IP was no longer owned by Disney, so like people could use Steamboat?
Yes, I remember the whole,
So
yes.
so like that's where that was me being fearful of what NFTs and crypto could be, because that night I was on my phone and there was like I saw three different projects that were minted with Steamboat Willie, and it was like a $100 mint, and like prices went up to $1,000 on the one that I was looking at, and then 2 days later prices were like $25. So like they built all this hype because of that IP. They're like, oh, Steamboat Willie, we're out here, the best project with it. Get it? People cashed out, they took advantage of it, and then see you later. Owner's gone. They
Yep.
got their money and they're out of there. And like that's why I was always so fearful, because you hear about those failed projects. You hear about I built up this like Logan Paul zoo, whatever he was
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah.
Like you hear all of those, but you don't hear about the positive ones. Like the was it war the women one, the Women of
War
War,
of
or
Women.
War of Women, yeah, like that one. I listened to the podcast with that. Like there's so much depth behind it, and like the artwork and the community that was built upon. Like I'm like I never. If you would have just showed me a picture of the NFT, I'm like, oh, talented artist. Like that's super cool. But like the depth behind it is like amazing. So when people take it in the right way, like the sky's kind of the limit with it. But you got to sort through the negativity and the nonsense, because there's everything that you do right in the music industry where you had to touch on that with me and like sports and NFT. There's always bad people out there that want to take advantage of somebody. But how are you going to see through the bullshit and find like that community that you want to be a part of? Like
100%.
that's the hard part. And
Yep.
I mean, we lucked out with this. Like this community is awesome. It's crazy, but like it's cool. But I also wanted to flip it back on you, because like you've been to VCon. I've never been. So like I'm going to be going to LA. So my flights are booked already. Figuring out my hotel stuff. For how many have you been to? Did you go to
I've
both already, or
only
just one?
no, I wanted to go to the first one, but like I mentioned before, I went from being this outgoing person to like really
Yeah,
secluded, and then COVID happened and that made it even worse. I got really comfortable
yeah,
staying in my bubble. And the first one happened, and literally like I didn't know no one in the space. Like I knew a few people, but it's like I didn't have that thing where I'm like, I'm gonna go see this person, or I'm like, you know what I mean? Like it was just like I'm gonna go there to see Gary. And at the time, like I'm the type of person I can't travel alone, so I'm always going with like my best friend Eric. Like he's like my security blanket. He's the one that's like
yeah,
anytime I have like my panic attacks and shit, like he knows what to say to like really ground me, and like I'll always love him for that. And when it first came up, the whole like NFT wave and all that, I was trying to get him to understand, because I like when you get into these things, like you want to get people involved. When you like something or you think
yeah,
something's cool, like you want to show it to the like. So it was like that, and I was trying to get him into it and everything. He understood it, but he just didn't care for it. Like he had his stuff keeping him occupied. Me, I was so obsessed with it because I felt like this is what I needed. I needed to see these people that I was speaking with, and little like I didn't know if they were going to be the same people that they were in the chat and in the Discord and online, if they were going to be the same type of people if they met me in person. But I was willing to wanting to take that risk. The first time it came around, it was too last minute. Prices and everything were like too crazy, so I'm like, all right, I can't go. The second year, it happened last year, and it got to the point where I was going to buy the ticket, and then like prices just kept like jumping all over the place, and I'm like, all right, this is my sign that I shouldn't go. I can't afford it. It's out my thing. Like I had the flight and I had the room like already good to go. I just needed to get the ticket to VCon, but it was like
yeah.
the only thing that the price was going crazy, and Ethereum and all that shit. And then, you know, I shared it out there. I was like, look, there's a few of you that I've gotten to know this time around compared to the first year where I didn't know nobody. I have like a reason to go this year. I was like, but in all honesty, I don't think it's happening. That's where Tim came out and he's like, nope, you're going, motherfucker. And he sent me one ticket. And then I felt bad because he had my wallet already. So he just dropped it in there. And I really didn't notice until like the next day. And then I told him, I was like, bro, I got to give it back to you because I can't do it. I can't like travel by myself. I have bad anxiety and this and that. He goes, okay. Then he sent me another one. And I'm what the fuck is it? He goes, so then go with somebody. He goes, you're always talking about your friend Eric. Tell Eric to go, blah, blah, blah. And this. So then I went and I told Eric, when I explained it to him, the reason he wanted to go is he found it hard to believe that people were just dropping stuff in people's wallets. And he didn't believe it. And he didn't understand it really. So then I wanted him to understand. So that night that I was talking to him, we sat down and we went through the thing. I made him a wallet. And then the ticket that I got, Tim not only sent me 2 tickets, but he also sent me like 4 vector bots that he had at the time. So I gave some away. I had one, and then I gave one to Eric. So he had an actual NFT. And then I also gave him his VCon ticket, and he had it. And once we went through that little process, again, it's like I say, like I feel like if people do it themselves, they'll get a better understanding. And he did it. And being that he didn't have to spend any money on it or nothing like that, he really like he wasn't against it. Like he's like, all right, I get it. And I feel like that's the thing that stops people is the risk of putting money into something and having it be a rug pull and all that. So it's like little by little, I started slowly like, you know, doing it, like introducing him into the space. And I started using apps because they're free and it's the same, just so you can understand the process of it. And
like, I got him.
Exactly. And yeah, basically. And then he went from being comfortable and he understood it. So then he was like, all right, let's go. And it went from him understanding the potential of the technology and what it was to then him seeing the environment and the space and the people to the fact that he just didn't give a shit about crypto. It's to this day, he probably, I don't even like put it like this. He bought like $3,000 worth of fucking Ethereum or some shit around the time of us going to VCon. And he still just sits on it. It's just there. Like he doesn't, he's like, he goes, I got it because I could at the time and it was cheap. And then he couldn't believe how it was just like moving. He goes, yo, what the fuck is this? Like, what's going on? And I'm like, bro, that's how it is. I was like, yo, imagine stocks, but instead of it going up and down within a couple months, it does it within a few hours. I was like, that's really all it is. And you just got to like pay attention. And little by little, we started doing that. And then when we went to VCon, it just switched to where it was just, we didn't care about crypto and we just wanted to meet people. We wanted to meet people, get to know them. And it wasn't until that we got there and he started meeting people that they were like, yo, what's your wallet? And they just started giving him shit. And he found it hard. He's like, why are they sending me shit? And I'm like, bro, that's Ethereum or that's Litecoin or that's, and he goes, but what is this shit? I'm like, bro, it's literally money. I was like, it's just a different form of it. And so once he started seeing that, like some other people like, oh, I have money. He looked at it like, yo, this person I don't even know is just sending me shit. And I'm like, yeah, he probably liked you. He goes, yeah, we had a good conversation and stuff, but he goes, why did they do? And like, he couldn't rap. And the more and more he kept getting involved, he started noticing like, okay, I get it. I get it now. I see what's going on. You know, he got to meet Gary. He was confused. Like me, I didn't know what to say and I was stuttering. He was cool. He was okay. Hey, what's going on, man? He goes, boy over there. Yeah, he's like, my boy over there is vlogging. He wants you on his podcast. And blah. And I was like, all right, cool. And in my head, I'm like, bro, like, why don't like he had his arm around Gary, like he knew him, like nothing. And I'm embarrassed. I'm like, bro, you like, what are you doing? And he's like, yo, he's mad cool. And it was that him being so loose, like he was more comfortable than I was.
That's awesome.
And that's the thing that like I went from thinking of going to VCon in one way, like I gotta meet Gary and I have to make all these connections, to literally it just came out to like I felt like I was just hanging out, meeting people. And I just didn't really care about what was going on. I didn't care about the events. I didn't care about the speakers. Like, yes, it was good and it was a plus. But I went from being so anxious to see the speakers and go to like these things and make it on time that I would be mad when I missed one or two. But then I start seeing people on the way there, or I'd meet a group of people here. And it just got to the point that you literally go from thinking you're going there for one specific reason, or that you want to go to like the garage sale thing that they have and all the cars they're selling. Like you thinking like, oh, I want to, but literally on your way there, you start noticing that like it's like you mentioned, it's like this podcast, like everything else is going, you notice that there's something else there. You don't know what it is, but you know that there's something else more than what you're taking for face value. And it's not until you're really in that you start seeing it. And it all like, I think if you go, you're going to love it, bro. If you haven't been there.
And that's what I was gonna roll into is, so when I got into Vee Friends, I heard about VCon I was like, what the hell is this? I'm like, I'm not into NFTs, I'm not into crypto, so like that part, like it doesn't appeal to me. Like I help run the day-to-day of a small business, so like I'm not a business owner, but I help run it. So like business, that's cool. Like that side's kind of unique. But I'm like, what the hell is this thing? And that's like when I bought my box, Jay like gifted me a ticket with my box. So like I was talking about it, he's like, you're going. I'm like, okay, now what? But then I was talking to I don't have you talked to Ross at all? Like LSU Tiger on
No,
his handles,
no.
Ross Brown. Talk to this man. He's one of the nicest guys ever that you'll ever come across and chop it up with. Him and I got connecting on Twitter. We just had a conversation. And then he randomly was like, "Hey, have you heard of VCon?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think I'm going. I have a ticket." Like, I didn't tell him I had a ticket right away, but he was like, "All right, you have a wallet and all that." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "We'll set this up because when they drop, I'm giving you a ticket and you're going to VCon." Like it's happened. I'm like, "What? Who the fuck are you? Like, what are you doing? We haven't met. We haven't like we talked about like life and like growing up." And he was just like, his is like kindness multiplies kindness. Like so, like if you do that act, like it's endless. And like he did that. He did something for my mom the other day on stream on Fanatics, and it's just like, what are you guys doing? Like, I had tickets before I even knew I was going to VCon or what I even know what VCon was. And then on the stream, I got more. So now, like, I gave one to Rob Messer, and it's like that feeling of giving someone their ticket.
Yes.
Oh, it's so fulfilling because like
Yes.
I didn't make anything on it. I could sell it, but I'm just like Rob Messer. I felt like Oprah. Like you're going to VCon and
Yep.
you
Yep.
get a VCon ticket. But I was gonna roll that into more so is like that question. So obviously I'm in the card community and like that's what I'm comfortable with and those are the people that I know. I'm sure someone at some point is going to watch this hasn't been to VCon as well. Do you have like any advice or like anything first time going there, like walking into it,
One,
like
what's really gonna suck that I don't like, um, is the whole bag issue thing that they have this year.
oh the clear
Last year they
bag.
didn't have that, yeah. And I tell people I'm a vlogger. I don't know if I'm able to really say that right now because like I'm still I feel like I'm an amateur when it comes to that even podcasting, despite how many people I talk to and stuff. But
No, just say it. Rock.
I
Just rock.
literally I went to VCon like to vlog my experience, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And so like I had the whole tripod and I got this freaking big ass monster camera and like so
Yeah.
it's really like when you're there,
Yeah.
I really didn't think about it, but it's really like, look at me, like I'm over here with the camera, like you know what I mean. So it's kind of hard to be like nonchalant about it. And then on top of that, when you're recording and you're trying to focus on the content and all that, so the number one thing that's bothering me about this year is just that thing. So the number one thing I say, because you're walking around a lot and you're standing, especially like the field day when we were all outside in the sun and stuff, be prepared with what you're having. That's the first thing. Like make sure you
Yeah.
got water or whatever it is. Then again, there's stuff there you could buy, but you know, it's kind of pricey, but still. But in all honesty, I went there like stressing about my backpack and all this stuff. But yo, when I got there, it was hot as shit. I was sweating my ass off. I had my backpack strap on and all this shit. But in all honesty, like none of that bothered me. Waiting in the lines to get food didn't bother me because yo, every second there's someone, even if you're not trying to speak with someone, someone's gonna come up to you. Hey, what's going on? Or yo, I know you from like I went there and being that like my PFP is like a weird little drawing that my daughter made. A lot of people are confused about it. Like they get mad because Gary's giving me like 2 or 3 NFTs already. He gave me one V2 that I have, and he wanted me to change my PFP. And I told him no, and he got mad because he gave me the thing. And I was like, I can't. And he's like, why? And it was because when I first got into this NFT stuff, I couldn't afford any NFTs.
Yeah.
So my kids knew that I was really into it. So for my birthday, my daughter painted a picture of me. Like back then, everything like all the NFTs were like the gorillas were like Bitcoin eyes and all that.
Yeah.
And like, I really liked those. But I couldn't get a freaking an ape or any of that shit. Like I didn't have money. I didn't have nothing. I'm still
Yeah.
new to the game. My daughter knew that and she went out her way. She drew me into like this cartoon thing. I don't know if it's gonna come up, like this little
Yeah.
cartoon guy. And she gave it to me for Father's Day. And she's like, Daddy, I got you I got you an NFT. So, and the
That's
NFT was the picture she drew of me. So, and I was like, you know what? This is my first
and
NFT. I don't care what
and
anyone says.
that's
Yeah,
your legendary moment that I was saying
exactly.
that you have that. Like,
Yep.
that's awesome.
So that's why I kept it on my as my PFP. I'm like, yo, this is gonna be my PFP. It's my NFT. Everyone was doing it at the time. And Gary, when he said, "Why aren't you going to change it?" Like he was mad. He was like, I just gifted you one. You got to change it." And I was like, "I
Yeah.
can't because my daughter." And then he's like, "Bro, I love it. I love your conviction." He goes, "I respect it." I was like, "Yo, I'll probably change it one time." I was like, "I just don't have the heart." And the way I explained to him, I was like, "Yo, my daughter doesn't have social media or nothing, so she won't even know if I changed it, but I do." And I was
Yeah.
like, and it's just something that every time I go online, and sometimes I get stressed, like, I don't want to. I look at it and I'm like, yo, like, it's not about the views, the likes, the money, the nothing. It's just this love, this thing. I don't even know how to really explain. It's just the feeling that you get from it. And because of that, I wore that on my shirt. No one knew my name or not, but they knew the PFP that my daughter made.
That's
And
what I'm
everyone,
going through. That
yep,
struggle is so like J Rob made that waffle that you saw everywhere.
yep,
Like he created it, and like I posted out there like Gary was out there, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get a VF1, and that's when I'll change my PFP. And then he sent me the Falcon, and I was like, shit, I gotta change it. But right after I did it, like Chell said, she's like, I kind of miss seeing that waffle, like because
yep,
it was just there. It was in chat, it was on Twitter, like it was everywhere, and like it's again as silly as Soggy Waffles sounds, like it created an identity, and you're like that.
yep,
You can't look at it and not like laugh, be like that's so stupid, or be like that's awesome, or like it's gonna make you smile in some way.
yep.
So like you obviously have more a sentimental connection to
But
that. Mine
oh,
was
but
it's still
still that,
something.
yeah, exactly, that's
It's
still
just
your
like
thing, bro. I say if
yeah,
you put it on a hat, on like put the falcon on the back of your shirt, put the waffles on the front, or wear the waffles. Like the only reason I did that is because again, I people think I'm playing, but I'm really like I'm dyslexic and illiterate. I'm bad at spelling, reading. I'm horrible at
yeah,
reading people's names or remembering it. So like the only thing I would know is like everyone's PFP. So I was like, yo, no one's gonna on there. It's by that. No one's gonna see me and be like, oh, that's PR. Or that's so I put that on there, and everyone was like, yo, you're this guy, and oh, I didn't know, and you got the camera, and you got things like that help people know who you are. So that's one thing that I think helps break the ice a little bit because a lot of the
yeah,
time it's just everyone's there from V Friends. It's kind of obvious, but when you're looking at people, you hesitate. Like, is that who I think it is, or is that this person? Or so that's one thing. One thing I say is just be prepared in the way that you're. If you have anything, like if you're gonna record, if not, bro, you're good. Just have a bottle of water, your phone. There's always charging stations all over the place and all that. Like you're. But I'm telling you, when you get there, you're literally gonna forget that you went to VCon or that it's an actual event thing, and that you're gonna feel like you're at a party or something, whether you're in the stadium, outside, watching a talk or whatever. Like literally that's the feeling I got. And I got it even more so because I was with my friend who didn't know anything about this, and yet he was talking to people. He was talking to more people than me. Like he was introducing me to people. Like if he was in the
yeah. He's
space
like
right now.
PR, get your ass over. This guy know
Yeah,
who you are. Yeah,
exactly. So it
yeah,
was that all of that, man. It literally just feels like you're at a big family barbecue. That's like that. I don't know how else to explain it. And that's what really
yeah,
like I was dying to go this year, and I feel like this year I had more reason to go because I felt like I have more personal connections with people in the conversations. But last year it was just, oh, I know you from the Discord or from, being in the chat and all that. Now it's like, yo, there's people I actually sat and spoken to, whether it was for once for a couple of hours or whether it's consistently over a couple of months but it's like now I feel like I can actually see people and I can go up to them and it's not just a handshake. I can give them a hug and like, we can sit and we can that's the thing. And I feel like if you haven't gone yet, and all these people, bro, I have 102 people watching right now, bro. Literally, this is the most that
that's good.
I've ever had. And the only reason I say it is literally, yo, all these people are here because they know you. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
and
I
that's what
wouldn't,
I.
it's
It's great.
it's that
I
thing.
don't.
When you
Yeah,
get over there in person, you're gonna get that same thing, and it's gonna become overwhelming to the point that you're like, why? It's like you say, like, why do these people want to talk to me? But when you see them and you speak to them and you see like
yeah,
it's a feeling that honestly I think you're not gonna get anywhere else, which is why I loved it. And I was always stressing about how much it was gonna cost or if I was gonna be in a bad position when I came back and all that. But bro, when I went there and I came back, I don't regret it. I don't regret it. What I regret is not going to the first one. this year I'm regretting not being able to go to this year. And I'm honestly just, it's not even about seeing Gary or nothing. Like all of that other stuff is just a plus. But the main thing, the main event, as like, I hope no one takes it any bad way, you're not going to give a shit about the Vee Friends merch, about the speakers, about the food trucks and all the shit that's going. You're literally just going to be overwhelmed at the fact that people just left and right. You'll finish one conversation and you got a person running across the hall or from the field like, yo, like what's going. It's just a crazy thing, bro. It's a crazy thing. You feel on top of the world. You feel like the center of attention. You feel like it's just crazy. It's a feeling that I don't think you're gonna get anywhere else. But it's like an overwhelming feeling of love, of support,
And
and it's just a safe place. You feel comfortable. You want to talk. You want to express stuff. You want to act out. Like you'll forget that you are where you are, and I guarantee you're gonna do things that's out of your character, but not in a bad way. You're gonna notice you're smiling
yeah,
more and laughing
no,
more out loud, and just like,
that's
you know what I mean?
that's all V friend. Like I'm super introverted. Like I'm not go like I've never been on a stream until V Friends. Like I've never been like the stream that I had my series one, but like hundreds of people were on that stream seeing my face looking like a weirdo who didn't know what the freaking black cat card was or anything like that. And a lot of people said to your point, like you brought it up, like they warned me, they're like, people are gonna know you. I'm like, why? Like I don't think that's still sunk in, and like it's weird to say because it always carries that connotation of like ego, and like negative there where like you're walking around like you're a big deal, but they're like people are gonna know you, they're gonna come up to you, and you're gonna have great conversation with them. So be ready for host. Oh, that's Soggy. Like, hey, Soggy, come over. Like, hey, Soggy, it's good to see you. Hey, I'm like, how? Like, who? Me? Like,
Yo,
what's going on? But so that's what I'm like like nervous, like positive, like a good kind of nervous for, because like that's so far out of my comfort zone. It's like when I travel, it's usually for coaching or like I have plans where I need to be here. This is what I got to do. These are the people that I with, and like going in, like it's kind of torn. Obviously, speakers aren't announced yet. Like, did you go like with a plan and you're like, I want to see these people, I want to do this, and was that plan just like shit? Oops, that never
yo,
happened.
bro, I vlogged the whole thing and I have it on
Yeah,
YouTube. And literally,
yeah,
like, if you look at the first two things, like
yeah. I'll have to go
going to
watch.
decon and there, bro, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna record this and do it. Like, I literally went with the mindset. I was so focused that I wanted to make a vlog or do something in a way to impress the Vee Friends community and impress Gary and do something because I really wanted to work with Vee Friends. And it wasn't because, oh, it's Gary V and you can make money. And I looked at it like, yo, I've never in my life seen any place of employment where people are like that, are that supportive of each other and are that cool with each other. And I saw Andy and how he was, and Corso. Like, I saw, if I'm not mistaken, I met Corso on one of his like first few days of him working with Vee Friends. And I have that in the vlog too. And I told him, he's like, yeah, you know, I used to work at Big Kmart or Walmart or whatever. And then I got a job here. And it was all crazy stuff that was happening. And it's like to
Yeah.
see those very same people who started off really not knowing and seemed a little nervous, and now they're just like nonstop. I see shirts of Corso and shit now, like all the, and it's like, yo, this is the dude. And my friend Eric too, when we met him, he's like, yo, isn't that the dude that we met on that bus at the Vee Friends bus? And this, I'm like, yeah. Like, it's little things like that, or the 137 cafe. Like, now when I'm in the city and I go with my friend and we pass that place, like, yo, that's where the cafe was. And that's like, it's little things like that that you think of, that you're like, yo, like you don't think it's gonna go from this thing that it's like, okay, you're not gonna remember, you don't notice it, and it's like it's still around and it's growing bigger and it's becoming something else. Like, if it was me, bro, and I didn't know nobody there and I felt the way that I felt, you're gonna feel even like over the top, just because of the fact that there's people that know you, that know your name, that know, you get what I'm saying? So it's gonna be a thing
Yeah.
that it's gonna feel a little weird because you're like, yo, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
But you
No,
just like, you just
that's
gotta
my
give in,
mindset.
bro. Just give in. Don't overthink. Don't think, like, I'm telling you, and I'm, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just speaking because I feel like maybe we have that thing in common where something overwhelming is gonna happen and you're gonna go back to the, like, all right, I gotta go, like, you know, decompress or go do. Don't do it. Don't go into the corner. Don't walk away. Don't say you have to leave. Don't go. Don't do it to yourself. don't kill the moment that you know could be something great and amazing. It's like you say, you don't know who you're going to meet. And that moment that you keep feeling like, all right, I have to go walk away and get away. I guarantee you someone's going to come up and talk to you, and you're going to forget that you were even feeling that, or that you were thinking that, or
Yeah.
and it's like now
No,
you're going to see that time goes by, bro. And you're going to be like, it's going to go from, okay, we're here. And you were thinking about leaving to like, yo, let's go get something to eat, or let's go hang out and chill and sit over here. And that
no,
it's
it's
a great,
crazy that you brought that up, because I was thinking today is like I have to get my hotels booked, and like I like my space. I feel comfort when I have like my place that I can go back to. Same thing here. It's my house. Like I can go back. I got my dog. Like things are good. So I was like, do I want to share a room with someone where then I don't have my safe space anymore, or and like spend half the amount of money on a hotel room because LA is expensive as hell, or do I keep it for myself so I can have that space and then spend twice as much because I think I need that comfort zone. So like I was literally having that internal dilemma this morning when I was like looking at hotels where just shut up and split the room and have a good time, or do I really need to spend that much? Like the hotel's so damn expensive, but
yeah,
I mean, I
exactly.
mean
I
that's a
honestly,
rant for
bro,
another day. But
if I would say, man, if it's something that you can do, like if it's something that's possible in your finances, and it's something that you know it won't really affect you that bad, I say do it, because the only thing, it's just that comfortability. You know what I
yeah,
mean? If you break out of that, and you know what I'm saying, like again, maybe it could be someone that you don't like or something like that. But if it's someone that you have some type of connection with, or history with, or anything that you know that you would get along with, I honestly say take it, because it's me and Eric. And like I said, like I know a lot of people grow apart, and I feel like that trip, there's things that I want to share from that trip that I didn't even share. Like we had conversations in the hotel room that were conversations I never had with him. And I've known Eric since like I was in middle school. Like and VCon and the people we met got us to really notice and recognize certain things about our relationship that we didn't know we really should be grateful for. Whether it's the time that we still managed to last being cool for this long, or it's just so many different things. We heard so many stories of other people that have been friends for like over 20, 30 years. Like there were people like just older than us that were like, I'm like, what are you doing? I thought it was just like my age and younger or something. I didn't think it was
yeah,
like, and they were like pure businessmen who were literally just there, who you thought were probably gonna buy half of whatever Gary owns or some shit, and they were literally
yeah,
just there chilling. And you would ask them like, yeah, I'm here and I collect and I do this and that, but they don't look it. And it just, the conversations we had with people, and they were like, yeah, we knew each other from high school and we got into this, and we heard so many similarities, and so many stories that we heard, or just in the relationships that we saw, and it was just something that I don't know how to explain it. It makes you look at things differently, and it opens up, to me, I felt like it opened up a part of my heart that I haven't seen, noticed, or I just forgot about. You know what I mean? And it's something that makes you connect with something. I don't know whether it's the inner child in us, or it's just that thing, like I tell you, that we see other people and we know they can relate to us, or they have something that happened that we know. But there's something there, bro, that it just opens up, and whatever it is that's making you hold back, or making you overthink, or making you judge yourself, what, yo, bro, that melts away and that disappears. I don't know if they put something in the fucking air or in the food or what the hell it is, bro, but literally, like, VCon is,
no, it's in the
I don't know,
cardboard.
bro.
Every time you touch a card,
Yeah,
it soaks in your skin.
that's what it is. And all the little freaking Vee Friend little 50-cent gummy shits that they're giving
Yeah,
out,
those
like
those
bubble
little
gum.
mini. Yeah, no, it's not toxic, but it gets you hooked. No, and
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Even just like talking with you like that, like I'm like, what the hell am I like? One is like, why? Why does this guy want to talk to me? Like this guy's crazy. Like I saw him on VFam After Dark. I got some stuff like this guy's hilarious as hell, but like, why the fuck does he want to talk to me? Um, but like those whys turned it like, and I wasn't worried about this conversation because at the end of the day, like if no one shows up, like you said, it's just you and I chopping it up. Like we were at a bar having a drink, and like, I mean, the time is for, I didn't realize how late it was. Like we've just been chopping up like it's old buddies, hanging out, grabbing a cold one that you haven't seen in a while. Um, and like once I realized that like that's what this is gonna be, it's like get your ass home. I know you had a long day at work. I cut off my technician. I'm like, dude, great talk, but I gotta go. Like, I got a conversation that I need to get to because these memories, like, and it's gonna be there forever, right? It's being recorded. It's there. You can look back, and there's gonna be little things that you or I said. You're gonna be like, that fucking dumbass. Like, I can't believe you said it on that stream, or you thought this, or you did that. It's like, and now it's documented forever. Like, you have it, and it's a memory that I'll always have. Because yes, I was on VFam sessions, but like I was on stream. But the second show podcast that I was on is yours. Like, and it's always going to be there. And I'll look forward to watching the next one, and then I'll look forward to being awkward on the next one I get asked to be on.
Yo,
But like, it just keeps on growing, and then it's the next person, and then it's those connections. I don't know, man. I'm nervous for VCon because I don't know what it's going to hold, and I like knowing things. I like having that control and understanding, so I'm nervous because I won't have any control over it for the most part. It's going to happen how it's going to happen, but like it's going to be a weekend of just memories, like you said, and connections, and it's going to be a lot of fun. But
it
like
is, bro. It is.
anxiety is going to go through the roof when I hit it there. It's like leading up to it, it's going to be like
I was the
I
same
don't
way,
know.
bro. I was the same way literally until I landed in where the hell was it? I forgot
Was it
the name of the area that it was for last year.
was it Indianapolis or Minneapolis?
Yes, in Indianapolis. When I
Indy.
landed in Indianapolis in the airport over there, bro, my anxiety was through the roof. I was having panic attacks and everything, and my friend was trying to calm me down. And in all honesty, as I'm doing that, I turn and I see Jeremy. Jeremy's just walking down. I met Jeremy like twice before. And Jeremy's like, hey, him with his little, like, bowler
Yeah,
hat and shit. And I'm like,
yeah.
and literally after that,
It
like it went
just
from seeing
melts.
Jeremy, yeah, and literally like everything just went away, bro. And then it just started snowballing, went from Jeremy, and then more people started coming off the plane, and more. And literally, it's like the whole entire airport was just Vee Friends. Everywhere you
Yeah.
went, you saw, Patient Panda and all this stuff. Like it was just crazy, and it just got to
Another one.
yeah.
Another one.
You're gonna love it, bro. You're gonna love it,
Yeah.
and I can't wait. I'm trying to keep hope alive that I can make it, and but in all honesty, I see right now this year financially, like
I was gonna say
that's the whole shit for me.
yeah, I don't like prying on that side. I was gonna ask, like, is it I mean, because it's LA is expensive.
It is.
Like
It
I
is.
booked my flight super early because I like to play that Southwest game of book early, and then I've changed my flights twice and gotten money back off of it.
Yeah.
Like, cause like I like playing that game, but like the hotel is now that other side is. I'm going as of right now. It's Wednesday to Wednesday, because I know who I am and how I am. I wanted to give myself a day to build up and like a day or two to like calm down, so I can kind of like get back to it. But like one of the hotels I was looking at, like downtown, like right off LA Live, it's almost $3,000 for the week,
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah.
like,
That's what happened to me.
I was like, what? Three? What happened to like $150 a night hotels? And you can like, no, okay, this is on a low end now. You can get a room for 300 a night on a Tuesday, but Thursday, Friday, Saturday goes up to 395 and 400.
And
Like,
that's
so
the other thing too
that's the part.
from because last year we got a room as close as we could to the event, which wasn't bad, but we still had to take Uber and Lyft and all that shit. So that drew out money. So like this year I wanted to go with Eric, but Eric, my friend Eric, just recently had a baby, so he's dealing with that. Me, I had some problems with the person that I was with. We were supposed to move and everything together. We ended up splitting up. So it's like that whole situation happened. I've been dealing with that. So it's like everything that should have went to plan a certain way just started going to shit. And it just got to the point that the closer it got to VCon 2 months ago, I was like, you know what? I sat down with Eric and we literally sat down one night. We tried going through it and we both looked at it like, yo, it's going to be way too fucking much. Like we were like, yo, the flights and then the room. And then after we did everything, then we're like, yo, we got to get a car because we spent so much money on Lyft and everything. So let's rent a car. So we did all that. And then after we did all that, we saw the price and we're like, yo, this is kind of crazy. And then we didn't even take into account that I'm like, yo, we still need to buy the VCon ticket. And I was like, I don't even know how much that's going to be because that's like, it's on the floor. And then depending on how everyone else are like, so we can't even like try to budget of what it's going to be, how much. And he's like, oh, well, maybe you'll have someone gift you. I was like, yeah, but the chances I'll have someone gift me something for both of us. So it's like, we both agreed. And I'm like, yo, I'm not going to be able to go by myself. And if I do, it's going to be the most challenging fucking trip for me ever, because one, I'm going to have anxiety like a motherfucker. Two, I can't read, so I'm gonna end up getting on the wrong fucking plane, or take a taxi to fucking Jersey or some shit like. So it's like all those little things I was thinking about. But even then, like even when Eric was like, he was even trying to like talk to me like, yo, I'll help you go, like so you can go. And I'm like, bro, I can't go alone. And I was like, in all honesty, I think I just shouldn't go. Like even like I have so many things. Like it's now I'm looking for work and all this shit, and I'm like, yo, even if I get a job and I budget and I do all this. But then I just kept telling myself, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna do all of this to go. And if I go by myself, like the chances that I'm gonna ruin it for myself because I'm alone and I don't know how to really. But then again, it's like I keep telling you, and I was like, yo, but maybe this is one of those things that I gotta break out of my comfort zone. So it's like that's what I wanted to do, and that's my goal. Like I have 2 interviews tomorrow. If they go good and something happens and I could really bust my ass and get on it, I'm going to try my best. But I know it's getting closer to the wire. If it's now when those prices are like that, I know when it gets closer to it, it's going to be even more crazier. But that was the only thing, man. At first, I was like, all right, I could kind of manage something. But then balancing everything with the tickets, I was like, yo, you know what? Right now, with everything else I have going on, I was like, I can't, man. I'm going to leave and be over there overthinking about what's going on here that I haven't really took care of. And, my kids and that whole. So that's why I was like, you know what? Nah. So I was like, let me just focus on trying to talk to as many people who are going, who want to go, and just focus on just trying to like, it's like we spoke now. I want to make sure people know, yo, it's worth it. You should definitely go. It's whatever. If you're able to go, you should go. If it's something that you're overthinking about being uncomfortable, I promise you, the second you see the first person that you know from the community, you're going to forget about it. You're good. The next thing you're going to be thinking about is, well, when can I see this person or how can I do it? You're not going to overthink, bro. It's definitely worth it. It's something I say, go. And anytime that you feel like you should leave or you should stop or you should ignore that shit and go even more into it. Talk to the next person you see, talk to a person you don't know, and you'll see it's going to be this snowballing thing, but it's definitely worth it, man. I
So
don't.
with you, there's still a chance that you may go, or are you?
I'm hoping if I'll have a better idea. Like honestly, I think after this month, depending on how this month goes, if things go well with these new jobs, if I can really budget and try to hustle some stuff, I have some ideas for things. And all honesty, I have like I said, I stocked up on all these things that I'm still sitting on. I still have all those plushies and stuff. So it's like I wanted to do something in a way where I could kind of raise money for it, but the way I looked at it is like, yo, it's so much that I kind of just scrapped the idea for that. And I looked at it like I want to raise money to turn clocking out into something like more legit and an LLC, So it's like I've been playing around with that. My main thing was I wanted to save money to go. And the main issue, honestly, is it's the flight and the hotel and just having money over there to eat and fucking live and not die. You know what I mean? So it's like it's things like that I'm worried about. But it's something that honestly right now I have it in my head like I'm not going, but it's because like with the whole job situation. But if these jobs come through tomorrow or whatever happens, and it's something that I see I can manage to just hustle and put in the work before the time is, like I think I can make it. But it's just, again, it's right now I'm just up in the air. I stressed about it for like the past couple of months, that I just got it in my head like, yo, it's not gonna happen. And as much as I know how the community is and everything, I was like, yo, bro, I really don't want to do that. I went one year, and if they're giving out something, I think they should give it to, it's like you said, someone who hasn't gone yet. I think I want more people to go and get into this thing, because I feel like there's somebody else out there that's like me, that honestly, bro, if they go there, it's gonna save their life or just change them in some way. So it's like that's what I'm really focused on,
So no, but I mean, I'll throw this at you. If you change your mind and you're going, I got you for a ticket. I have a few.
I appreciate that, bro.
So like,
I'll keep that in mind.
like, so I mean, it's the same thing. Like I knew Rob Messer, like he was gonna go, and like I didn't want a ticket to be something you got to think about. So like if you, and I get like there's life's expensive, like life in general. So like there's gonna be things outside. It's not as simple as like if it was just a ticket that's holding you back. I think 17 people would line up and hook you up with a ticket.
Exactly.
But like if like I got a few because of Ross. So like if it works for you, you like keep me posted on that, and like
I will, man. I will. Like I said, tomorrow, as soon as I find out, yo, you don't understand. If I find out like really what's going on tomorrow, like I already have like a budget and everything set up, like depending on what I get paid and what, like I have it all. It's just about really busting my ass. But in all, I really do appreciate that, bro. And
Yeah.
trust me, like if I see it's possible, I'm gonna work my ass off because I feel like I have more reason to go this year than I did before, man. And
No,
I miss it.
with what you're doing here, and I mean, you said it to me, like what you're putting together with clocking out. I think taking what you're doing in these conversations out to LA, like out to VCon, out to those people, like what you just said with me is like people are going to know who you are. It's going to be the same exact thing that you just had. And you're
Hope
like, hey, I saw your podcast with B. Miller. I saw your podcast with whomever you have on or whatever this turns into. Or I think, like you said, this is a year for like new people, but like I think this could be a year for you as well with whatever this turns into and whatever it does. So
you're right.
I hope you can make it happen because then we can chop it up in person and like
I
see
would
it.
love to. Man. I would love
But
to.
no, this I don't want to take it to be an excuse. So if you can make it, let me know because I got a few, and I
I
would love for
appreciate that.
one to go there. It's one less thing that you got to worry about
I appreciate. I'm gonna
making that.
keep that in mind, man. Thank you very
But
much, man. I really
yeah,
appreciate that.
no, it's the
Let's
least I can do,
we've
man.
been on for 3 hours, man. I know I already see
No,
I see
that's no.
people they got they got work tomorrow and they're working with middle school kids.
That's just my sister. She could have went to bed. I got to work with grown ass men who act like middle school kids. So I
Yeah,
don't know what's actually worse,
so
but no.
before we get out of here, man, and we wrap this up, I wanted to ask you: is there anything that you want us to you want to let us know about besides for what you have in the works with whiskey? Is there something else that you got going on that you're
Oh, you
working towards, or a goal that you're trying to reach, or anything that you want to share with us so that we can keep our eye out on? Everyone, please, and thank you. I want to say thank you to Nacho, thank you to Ann. Thank you. Your sisters, which how many sisters do you have? Because she's been on like
no, that
3 different accounts, and I'm so confused.
yeah. So no, that's she was using her husband's account, and
Oh, okay.
their last name's Caesar. So like it's a play on board game. So C's the
Gotcha.
game, but
Then
no, that's still Caitlin.
we
So
got so thank you, Caitlin. We got Scuba Steve. We got Ellie, we got Bro Fit. Thank you all, Savvy, Tab Fro. Yo, everyone who came and stopped by, man. I'm just going through the chat. Like, this is the most I've never had this happen, bro. Like, you understand? Like, I'm scrolling and scrolling, and I've never had this. Literally, I had like a few people on here, so this is like, thank you for
no,
coming on, and thank you everyone for showing love, man. But yeah, man, how do you want to close it out? What do you want to share with us before we get
no.
out?
So I'll go through it. Like you saying how many people, the fact that people show up is still very surreal to me. And there's a few people that just tell me to shut up, and like, of course they are, because like that's what this community is all about. Like with Brofit and Brian and like Moon, like it's overwhelming every time it happens. I'm sure you have that feeling too when you pop up on here live and you're like, oh, like people are here. Like no shit, people are here because
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep on showing up, and that's just how this is gonna be. But I know you tried sliding in again to try to get something with whiskey, and I'm not gonna tell you anything more with that.
Fuck.
So I applaud
Hold on.
I applaud the effort with that. But no, like the biggest thing, like me personally, it's continuing to find like a lot of what people are going to see next for me is just me being a better me and being happier. So like there's nothing tangible, there's no business, there's no I'm starting my own whatever. In the future, it's I'm making more of an effort to be present in the community with the chat, have more conversations like this. um, but no, whiskey and stuff's happening. We'll leave it at that. I know you're going to be there whenever something does happen,
Oh yeah, man.
but there is something out there that teases stuff that's not on Twitter. So if you find it, good on you. You can let me know when you do. Whiskey and I did it on purpose to try to. We'll say we'll leak a little something, but not too
I'm gonna find
much.
it. I'm gonna find it.
But no, this community. So like with me, it's I'm gonna be out there. If I'm not, call me on it because like these people, like this is my drug, a positive drug. Like this is my therapy. This is I mean, life's great, man. Like you said, this is you led off with, yeah, this conversations are usually 30 minutes, 45, try to keep it out. I'm like, bullshit. No, it's been like 3 hours. Like,
Yeah,
like
exactly. It's
it
3 hours
never
and 4
happens.
minutes now, yo.
But it doesn't feel like like the biggest thing ending is people are still in the chat or
Exactly.
afterwards is like pay attention to what you got going on because these types of conversations in a lot of aspects in our life and world, they don't get to happen. unless you have someone like yourself going out there saying, hey, give me a time that you can meet. We can connect. We can chop it up. I can ask questions that I don't know how often you actually went over there and looked at them, but we just talked
Yeah, you
for
literally
3 hours.
yeah, through your
Yeah,
normal talking, bro, you literally
yeah,
went through like 6 or 7 questions I wanted to
yeah,
ask you. So I was like trying
yeah,
to jump around. I was like, yo, this
yeah.
he's hitting everything. Like,
But like, pay attention to this, and like you said, like you try to support with being present. It's the same people in this chat, and that's what I want to focus on for my. I don't need to spend. I have enough. I have a lot of value. I want to support by checking into your next podcast and like being present and going back and watching B Millers with my Wisconsin pal. Like it, stay present. Make sure I'm present. If I'm not, call me on my shit and say, hey, where you at? Because like that holds us accountable, to make sure that we stay present in this community and continue doing like being our best selves. Which it sounds, it's cliche as it is, like this community really holds you accountable to that. Is like you said, real recognizes real. Like you're real. The people in this chat that I don't know why they're at 11 o'clock at night listening to me talk back and forth with you. It has to be you because it definitely ain't me. Like it's surreal, um, on a lot of things. So no, I appreciate it for sure. Making me do this, reaching out. It's being comfortable, being uncomfortable, and you put me in a spot, and I appreciate it big time. And I better bank on me having to send you a ticket because I hope to chop it up in person.
I'm definitely not.
I
Now you
got to
got
get
me
out there.
really wanting to really figure
No,
some shit out, man.
but
From you to Ben, man, like I really Tom, Josh, like all of you guys, bro, like I I I don't know, man. It's just it's something I feel like I need, and I know it's not gonna be easy, but I'm gonna try my best to figure something out, man. Because if
no,
last time I went and like I really didn't know no one there, I feel like with all the people I've gotten to meet and talk to, like you know what I mean, I really want to figure something out. I
no,
think it's
and
something that
I look forward to seeing that PFP on a shirt again too, and knowing
damn right.
like your daughter Drew like that. That's something like clocking out's going to be something at VCon this year because you're going to make it something, and that's for
I
damn sure.
appreciate that, man. I really not appreciate you taking the time to come on, man, and chopping it
Yeah,
up and being open and sharing your story with me, man. And again, for everybody who's in the chat, everyone who came in and jumped in and out, everyone who shared the stream, thank you. I truly mean it. I don't know what this is becoming. I don't know where it's gonna go. All I know is that I truly enjoy it. I love having these conversations. I love meeting all of you. I love becoming friends with all of you guys, and I just want to know how I can be more useful and just return the love back. It's something that I'm trying my best to get used to. I'm not used to being told I'm doing something good or it's helping anybody or for anyone to even give a shit about me enough to talk to me or anything. So I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose any of you. Whether I only spoke to you once or twice or we just talking, I don't want to do that, man. I want to make sure that I'm bringing value to you guys in more ways than just content and all that. And I say it a lot, but I love y'all. I love y'all for what you guys do and what you guys give to everyone else in the community and me, and I love it. So thank you for your time, man. Thank you for what you do in the community in the sense of supporting so many people and showing up and buying so much shit. And I'm sorry I fucked up your bid on eBay. I'm sure.
no, I had a number that I wanted to go to, and someone they beat me. They wanted to overpay it. I got great value on my very rare, so
I owe you.
it,
I owe you a card now. I'm gonna figure
no,
something out,
what
Max.
it's meant to be. I'm waiting on the only one. I need a one of one because I don't know if like, I mean, not to TP too long, but like I got the insert. So like I got the auto of the Falcon. So like I
That's
got that.
so fucking clean, man.
Yeah. Then we got the pristine core. Snagged that from Whiskey and Sam in a trade with some stuff. And then I got the epic and the insert. So like I
I
just
have
need
a
the one of one.
Bro, I have a
And
rare lemur or
yeah,
whatever. I haven't. I pulled it. They gave at VCon. Gary gave away packs,
yeah,
and I didn't want to open my pack. I was like, I'm gonna hold on to it. Everyone opened their pack and they didn't get a hit. It wasn't until like a month or two or after VCon I was home and I kept looking at the pack, and I'm like, yo, if no one got a hit, I was like, there's definitely a hit in there. And when I opened it, I had the lemur, and I had no idea what I really had, and it was a rare lemur. And I'm like, oh shit! So I was like, yo, I got it graded.
Like I have all my lemurs in the vaulted vinyl, so like I have.
That's the one I have right there in the middle. The one in the middle on the top. That's the one that I got.
Yeah. So I got my rainbow. I got to put this up on the wall, but
see, like I fucking love them. When I see them, man, I'm like, yo, I gotta get. I only have a few graded cards, but I have like everything's like around an 8 or a 9. I don't have like a 10 or nothing yet, except for this one. I got one that I was gifted to me.
Oh, nice.
10, yeah. So I've been keeping it here, but that one is not even really mine. That one I have in what I call the vault. I have a vault that I'm making. I really don't talk about it a lot, but I've been putting stuff in this vault that what I want to do is I want to if I can't go to VCon or whatever it is, my thing is I want to share the Vee Friends love to anyone who can't make it, and I'm just gonna start like giving away shit. So it's like I've been stocking up on things, and I call it the vault, and that's what I've been keeping. That's one of the things that are in there. But from that to freaking Pokemon cards and Charizards and all, you can't even really see it, the damn green screen shit. Like they're just sitting here, and I've been waiting to give them away. But then I have some tucked away in my own little collection and stuff. But
I guess I guess we never really asked about, like, obviously I have the Falcon and the Lemur stuff. Is there like a character that like you speak to that's yours?
My character at first, I was just a fan of the Willful Wizard, but the more and more time came on, for whatever reason, I don't know why, I started leaning on to the Knowing Gnome. Just I don't know why. The more and more I look at it and what it says, the Knowing Gnome, I feel like that's where I'm at right now. I'm trying to like know more shit, and I'm trying to learn more people.
Tab wanted to see this again, so we'll keep throwing it out there.
But the Knowing Gnome, yeah,
that's the crazy thing about it. It doesn't have to make sense. Like that's like look at Josh and the bison, and Tom with the catfish, and Jay with the fairy, and Chelsea the cat. Like I have the lemur. Like it doesn't make sense when you think about it, but like if it speaks to you, it speaks to you, and that's what's cool about it. But
that's what's been happening though. It's been the Knowing Gnome. The Gnome has really been, for whatever reason, bro. And I'm like, you know what? I think this is the one. But yeah, that's the only one that I've really been like having my eye on, that I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get one day, or I'm gonna. But again, it just hasn't been in the cards yet. I know I'm gonna get to the point where I'll be able to level up like you, and I'll be able to start buying and grabbing stuff again. And I can't wait, because in all honesty, like it's just like you, I want to have that feeling of giving people that, you know.
No, it's special. Again, you don't need. I spent a lot more money than I should, but I also got luckier than hell in a lot of stuff that I got. But when I can come home and you look at it, like I know you know what that is. You see that stuff and you're like, yeah, this is why. This is what I love it. But no, it's special, man. But big stuff. And again, you got to end with kudos to yourself with what you're putting together. This is just the beginning for whatever this is going to be. Just like whatever Whiskey and Waffles is. Like I don't know what you're going to do. I don't know if you know what you're going to do, but it's going to be something. So keep on grinding, keep having those conversations, because this is what sets Vee Friends apart from other NFT projects and sports cards or any kind of collectible. Is you don't have this, so you're doing something here.
I appreciate.
Keep on riding.
I appreciate that, man. I really thank you, everyone. Thank you for the kind words. Thank you again for giving your time, for coming by, man. I really appreciate it. Everybody else, I know you could be in bed, knocked out, or doing anything else right now, man. And I know a lot of you probably still don't really know me, but I'm PR, the King of Hearts. Saugy Waffles is my guest speaker today. We are part of Vee Friends. We love the community. We love all of you guys. Thank you. Have a great night. And with that, we're out of here. Take care.
Yeah. Take it easy.